the truth get exposed. Let's talk about it. X-RAYTED Sports Network. If it's game time talk, we the ones who connect. X-RAYTED Sports Network. Where the hot takes live and the truth get checked. East Coast talk, West Coast swagger. Stats on the board, yeah, the debate get louder. No filter talk, yeah, we calling the play. If it's sports conversation, we leading the way. From the hardwood to the gridiron plays. Breaking every matchup, every headline debate. X-RAYTED Sports Network. Yeah, remember the name.
What's up, fine people? What's up, hoop heads? What's up, beloved humans? We are Beyond the Surface on the X-Rated Sports Network. What's up, baby? Second round starts tonight of the NBA playoffs. Your boys are in the fold here. It is Rick Kamla, the great Dr. X, Dr. Phil McDonald, sports medicine radiologist, entrepreneur, philanthropist. We have Dwight Walton, lower right-hand corner, Canadian basketball legend. A.M. Pfeffer, lower left. He's out in our beautiful L.A. studios, anchor, businessman, author, and a hell of a guy. They're all hell of a guys. All right, we have to start by shouting out another hell of a guy. All right, his name is Dennis Scott. Okay, our thoughts and prayers are with our brother, our family member, Dennis Scott, dear friend of mine for a long time. He underwent a medical procedure recently. Everything went well, and a full recovery is expected here. But we just love DZ. We want him to, live a long, fruitful life, and just really happy and excited to hear, that he's on the other side of this and all that kind of stuff. But DZ, we just want to send you love, man. We all love you over here. People love you around the world. I keep hearing your name come up on broadcast, but we will continue to pray for you. We will continue to keep you in our thoughts. And God bless the great Dennis Scott. Hopefully we can get him back in the fold here on the show soon. But DZ, we love you, and God is great. Now we move on with. There it is. Yes, we move on with breaking news, fellas. And I got a quick little burst of sarcasm here, and then we're going to get into the real thing. ESPN reports that Masai Ujiri, we all love Masai Ujiri. That guy's a gangster in like all the best ways, right? Has been hired by the Dallas. I never understood why Toronto fired him. Okay, so there's that. But Masai Ujiri has been hired by the Dallas Mavericks. This is big news, okay? To be their president and alternate governor. Here comes the sarcasm. The only thing the Mavs messed up here is not making Masai the governor over the goofy Patrick Dumont, who will be super goofy at the introductory press conference tomorrow, okay? And maybe we get some goofy video from the goofy Patrick Dumont. But great move by the Mavericks. Maybe now they can exit their little era of dysfunction. And guys, if you see Mark Cuban, I want you to give him a hug. Mark Cuban needs a hug very, very, very badly, okay? He sold his team. He regrets it. It's going to bother him the rest of his billionaire life. He is no longer in control of the Mavericks, which he once was. He's still pissed off at Nico Harrison about that. And yet all he can do is complain on podcasts about it. Literally, that's the only thing he can do. Cubano needs a hug. Give him one today. And he may go, why are you hugging me? Say, hey, man, Rick Kamla said you needed a hug, okay? And then he'll be like, I think I distantly remember that. Anyway, who cares? All right, here's the real breaking news. We're all going to, take a bite out of this. Jamahl Mosley has been fired, the Magic announced today. Mosley coached Orlando for 5 years, made the playoffs the last 3, didn't make it out of the first round. Okay, just giving you the facts here. Mosley has dealt with several injuries over the past 3 years to Paolo and Franz and Suggs, who rarely ever played together. Per reports, Billy Donovan, who had the Magic job for 1 day before returning to Florida back in the day, has been linked to the Magic many, many times, and it seems kind of like that's where this is going. Dr. X, you first. Was it fair or unfair to fire Jamahl Mosley?
I think it was fair to fire him. What's crazy is that he really had a chance to resurrect his career, or at least give him another chance or extend his contract potentially if they had beat the Detroit Pistons. And he had 3 chances to win 1 game. And I know the whole Franz Wagner thing is an issue, but you're up 24 in the elimination game at home. So I'm sure they still would have fired him possibly, but I think that was a chance to like resurrect his career and stay with the Magic, and he totally botched it. I mean, obviously the players on the floor, ultimately speaking, but there had to be some offensive scheme you could have did to, ramp your team back up and with a 24-point lead. Like the pressure should have been off at that point. I'm just that's like the most epic collapse, one of the most epic collapses I've seen in the playoffs. I think the other one was probably when Jokic and Jamal Murray and the Denver Nuggets lost to Anthony Edwards, and they were up 20 in a game 7, I believe, or whatever it was. And I just feel like you can't let that happen. I don't care how bad both teams are shooting bad. Both teams are defensive minded. So there had to be some sort of offensive scheme as a coach to make Paolo Banchero score a little bit, just a little bit more, and maybe Desmond Bain just a little bit more. And I think looking at all those factors, that's why I think it was justified. It's unfortunate, but it's definitely justified.
Okay, Dwight Walton, you are next. No clock. Fair or unfair to fire Jamahl Mosley?
Well, the reality is, in regards to Jamahl Mosley, we can ask whether this firing was fair or foul. This was in the cards for Jamahl. Up to 10 days prior to the end of the season, I was asking the question, is Jamahl going to be put in the same category as Taylor Jenkins, who was fired with 9 games to go with the Memphis Grizzlies, and then Michael Malone was fired with 3 games to go with the Denver Nuggets that same season. If you look at the ending of the Orlando Magic season, they were on that trajectory. And the reality is, whether we think they were positioning themselves or not, they lost to the Boston Celtics, basically main Red Claws team, on the final day. A team they should have beaten. And whether, again, I don't know if they were trying to position themselves, but they did it to themselves. And then they lose the play-in game against Philadelphia, and I'm like, they're going to lose to Charlotte on the Friday night. And then all of a sudden, things came together. They played great in that Charlotte game. Then they take a 3-1 lead against the Detroit Pistons in the first round. And as to my cousin's point, we're thinking, is Jamahl Mosley about to save his job? But the reality is, you cannot give up a 24-point halftime lead in Game 6 at home in an elimination game and then go on to lose a series in Game 7 and expect to keep your job. Jamahl was on the hot seat the entire time. He had a record of 189 and 221 in his 5-year tenure. And the reality is, in his playoff tenure, he lost 3 in the first round. This might be a case of where you tweak with the roster, and maybe somebody else will get this team, this very talented Orlando Magic team, when healthy, over the hump. Maybe a different voice, a different philosophy will get this group over the hump. It's unfortunate, but once you sign up to be a head coach in professional sports, you're hired to be fired. And Jamahl Mosley was just next in line, and this is what happened.
Mr. Singh out here saying NBA coaching life, and you are right about that. Even with a twinkle in Dwight Walton's eye, as we go to AM Pfeffer, was it fair or unfair to fire Jamahl Mosley?
Yeah, it was fair. I mean, this notion of fire, right? You see the big red box on ESPN, breaking news. I mean, you literally think a fire broke out in Midtown Manhattan the way they break these stories. But that's not what we should be focused on, right? Like, this is literally just a guy who was, as Dwight said, on the hot seat, on his way out. He was sniping with his most prolific player through the media months ago. The writing was on the wall. Orlando wasn't getting it done. And regardless of what happened like in the last 20 games of the season, and Dwight, you did an amazing job recapping that, you just look at the roster of what this team was made up of. They should have been the top 3 in the East. They had the components to do that the last 2 or 3 years. They never sniffed it. Regardless of the injuries, regardless of guys not showing up, Jalen Suggs, it just wasn't right. Mosley, for whatever reason, isn't running the team the way that management wanted it. It's time for a fresh voice. I don't want to look at it like, hey, it's fair that you were booted on the way out the door. Don't let don't let the door hit you on the ass on the way out kind of thing. It shouldn't feel that way. It was just, they're moving on. They're going to go in a different direction. That's life, man. And that's sports life. That's NBA life. And as our guy said, that's coaching life, especially in the NBA.
And Rick,
Look,
Rick,
yeah.
So sorry, Rick. To AM's point about the bickering between Paolo Banchero and head coach Jamahl Mosley, I was asked the question this morning: should the Magic consider trading Paolo Banchero? And I was like, nah. The Magic clearly made their choice this morning. You never give up on a franchise type of player in favor of a head coach. That choice was made this morning. The Magic are clearly going forward with Paolo Banchero. You pair him up with Franz Wagner. That's one of the better front courts that we have in the NBA. Injuries befuddled this Magic franchise this season. It was unfortunate, but there was bickering between the alleged star player of the Magic and the head coach. Something had to be done, and Banchero, in this case, won. So let's see how it plays out going forward.
I mean, I agree with you guys in one way. We all saw this coming. Nobody is surprised by the events of today. Nobody's surprised. Jamahl Mosley's not surprised by this. But I don't like it. And I do think that it was unfair. And I'll explain why. So I'm on Kamla Island here. I've been there many, many times. As I always say, it's always 82 and gorgeous over here. Okay. Little light breeze. We got palm trees. Look out. The worst thing, that a coconut's going to fall and hit you in the head. The worst thing's going to happen on Kamla Island. Okay. There's no wild boar. There's no cannibals. Okay. It's just look out for the coconuts. All right. All right. Anyway, I don't agree with this. This is unfair to me. So it's Jamahl Mosley's fault that his best players are almost always injured. Okay, I get that. So it's Mosley's fault that Paolo Banchero is a flawed star who is surprisingly behind the eight ball in development from where I stand. He's a terrific talent. Had a huge game 7, 38, 9-6, 26, 9-6 for the series. Okay. Yet we are here complaining about the same thing year after year after year. He's inefficient, doesn't play defense, doesn't make teammates better, struggles to create a shot, with the gun barrel in his mouth. He's a bit of a front runner, right? When things are cooking, he's flirting with triple doubles. But then, you put him in a pressure cooker, like a playoff series, which he's never won. I'll let that rest for a minute. And this is what you get. And again, overall, I'm a Paolo Banchero guy. I think he's a better player than Franz Wagner, but he is flawed. I think we can all agree that Paolo Banchero is a flawed star. And you can iron out those flaws or wrinkles. Hasn't done it yet. When/if will he ever do it? But again, that's Jamahl Mosley's fault. So it's Jamahl Mosley's fault that the Magic blew a 3-1 lead when the real reason they blew the 3-1 lead was Franz Wagner. Okay? And I'm not going to sit here and bang on Franz and, use the S. I'm not doing any of that stuff. But if Franz Wagner stays healthy, I wish him well. God bless him. Hope you get well soon, dude. I'm in a more peaceful, graceful area with the injury thing. Okay? I am. But if Franz stays healthy, the Magic win this series. I'll die on that hill, fellas. I will die on that hill. It went boom. It completely changed the series. It changed the math game from heavily in favor of Orlando to basically an even Steven type of deal. So I will take that to my grave. They win this series with a healthy Franz. So it's Mosley's fault that the Magic missed 23 straight shots in a home closeout game. He didn't take any of those shots. Not one. Not one of those shots was launched up by Jamahl Mosley. So, guys, it was garbage when Denver fired Michael Malone. It's garbage that Orlando fired Jamahl Mosley. It was garbage when the Grizzlies fired Taylor Jenkins. It was garbage when Giannis Antetokounmpo fired Adrian Griffin. Okay, because that's how that happened. And it was garbage when when the insufferable Dr. X's Knicks fired Tom Thibodeau. Okay? It is what it is. Hopefully the Bulls or Pelicans will hire Jamahl Mosley, get him back in the game because he's a terrific coach. He's a hell of a guy. You will not find anybody in the NBA outside of Paolo Banchero saying a bad word about Jamahl Mosley, including Jeff Weltman, the boss of the Magic, who just fired him. All right, let's move on to Game 7 recaps here, guys. Here's what I want to do. I'm going to go first here and give you guys maybe a little bit of time to think about this, because I want you to pick or let me know, hey, I'm ready. I can go right now. Pick one MVP for the Game 7s. We had 3, okay? I want one game ball handed out, okay? Not one for each game. Overall, 3 games, pick your MVP. All right, we had Cleveland last night over Toronto, 114-102. We had Detroit crushing Orlando, 116-94. Wow. And we had the Sixers over the Celtics on Saturday, 109-100, okay? So, Dwight Walton, you want to go first here? You want to pick your MVP for the Game 7s?
Oh, to me, this conversation starts and ends with the Philadelphia 76ers, Joel Embiid. Joel Embiid, once he decided to go down on the low block and recognize that the Celtics had no one to guard him and that his gravity or his presence on the floor would change the entire dynamic of the series. Joel was the MVP of Game 5, the MVP of Game 6, and definitely the MVP of Game 7 in that Celtics series. We could talk about how the Celtics shot 33% from on their open threes in that series, but that's how they play. The Sixers adjusted on the fly. They went from a dynamic backcourt in Tyrese Maxey and VJ Edgecombe, and welcome to the party once again, playoff P. Paul George, getting contributions from Andre Drummond, Kelly Oubre Jr. The list goes on and on with the Sixers. But the reality is they don't beat the Boston Celtics without the presence on both ends of the floor in Joel Embiid. I applaud him for coming back from an appendectomy just 2 weeks ago. I applaud him for playing through the myriad of injuries that he's had throughout his playoff career. He's a lot tougher than being given credit for. He will be hurt in every game in this upcoming series against the New York Knicks because some body part is going to get hurt. We all know that. But the reality is, like I said, games 5, 6, and 7, Joel Embiid was the clear MVP of the Game 7s this weekend. The Sixers don't win without the performance and the commitment to the way he's playing now in Joel Embiid.
All right, AM Pfeffer, you next. We'll get Dr. X back here in a minute. Name your one MVP from the 3 Game 7s.
Okay, so Boston, Philly, that's easy. It's Maxey. Definitely over Embiid. I mean, Maxey was, I want to say, I think he was like 37. I mean, what was his stat? 37-7 or 37? Whatever it was awesome.
He was 30-11-7.
30-11-7. Thank you. And he was incredible efficient, right? Because he was over 50% from the field. And that's always a big thing. Embiid, I believe, was 12 for 26. Not that Embiid wasn't fantastic. Not that Embiid wasn't amazing in games 5 or 6. But Maxey was the MVP of the series. And Maxey was the MVP of Game 7. Let's head over to Detroit, Orlando. Yo, Tobias Harris, you deserve what's coming to you. This is your game, buddy. You showed up 30 points. Detroit was looking for a second guy to step up and be somebody offensively. Cade at home, we all knew what he was going to do. Tobias Harris was magnificent. That's an easy one. And so was the Cleveland game, the Cleveland-Toronto game. I mean, when Jared Allen came out in that second quarter and then ultimately the second half, come on. I mean, what was he, 22-19? And a fierce. I mean, there was zero answer on the side of Toronto. But big shout out, Doc, to the winter soldier, because Strus was great the entire series. And I love his stat line in that game as well. But it was still Jared Allen in Game 7. To me, these are easy answers. Embiid and Maxey, you can feel how you want to feel. But the other two, I think, easy MVP answers.
But of the 3, pick one.
Oh, I'm sorry. That is the game? That's the name of the game?
Yes.
Maxey. Maxey,
Okay.
because he was so consistent, did it on the road. He just, I mean, the way he plays now, you look at the guy and it's like, a lot of guys did not live up to the first or even second team or potentially even third team All NBA in these playoffs. And we can talk about them as well. Maxey certainly has. Maxey lived up to his billing as being a top 7-8 guy in the MVP race. Loved everything he did. Maxey's my answer.
All right, Doc, of the 3 games, pick your one MVP, man.
Yeah, when you first said it, I was thinking Maxey as well, to AM's points. Dwight's I can't even say it. Soliloquy.
Soliloquy.
I
Yes.
just said it. You don't have to be all gruff. Soliloquy.
Ah!
Was great because it convinced me that Joel Embiid should be the MVP. But then AM came back and I was like, you know what? I like my first pick. So I'm gonna have to give it to Maxey because all I see, number one, first off, we have to hold combo to what I predicted on our segment together weeks back. I'm not sure if you saw the segment, but I had said who's stopping Maxey and for 7 games. And I was just like, because I was saying who cancels out who. And I had picked Maxey as being the difference maker. And they stole a game without Maxey. I know you're saying for game 7, but to me, all I keep on seeing is those 2 layups. He went straight down the lane in the fourth quarter and got 2 clutch layups that they needed. Now, of course, Joel Embiid they probably wouldn't even be there without Joel Embiid, but Tyrese Maxey did also win a game without Joel Embiid, and they also lost the game with Joel Embiid. So all that said, Maxey came through at the clutchest moment with those 2 layups, and I think this is not even a series. Based off of that, I'm giving it to Maxey.
I love the answer. It's funny because, and Dwight, look, you made great points about Embiid, and Embiid clearly is a major candidate for this. But Dwight said, it begins and ends with Embiid, and then all 3 of the other guys have gone Maxey here. I just found that funny. But Dwight's very passionate about his takes, and he's not wrong. It's just a preference thing. Guys, for me, it's Maxey on the MVP of the Game 7s. 30, 11, and 7. Doc just mentioned the late game takeover in that fourth quarter. Here's some more context to this. I saw a tweet heading into Game 7 that blew my mind. You guys know I'm a stat guy. It actually, at this point, takes a lot to really impress me in the stat category. Philly had never come back from a 3-1 deficit to win a playoff series. Think about Philly. They've been in the NBA for 300 years. They've been in it never happened, right? And another thing, the Celtics had never blown a 3-1 lead in franchise history. This is unbelievable history that went down, and Embiid deserves a ton of credit. He's out diving into the corner for a loose ball, and that was after hyperextending his knee. Like, I see you, big fella. I hear you. He said, I do not want to lose to these guys again. And I felt that, and I was like, is this just words, or like we going to get that Joel Embiid? And we got that version of Joel Embiid. And isn't that version of Joel Embiid fun to watch? My goodness. We just talked last show. To me, he's the best player in NBA history to have his career like lightning bolted by injuries. And he's still going to make the Hall of Fame, but so did Bill Walton. But his career obviously wasn't nearly what everybody thought it was going to be. One more stat. Per AI, against, this is probably 98% accurate, okay? The Celtics are 27-6 all-time at home in Game 7. They were 27-5 going into the game, okay? 27-6 is a win rate of 82%. It was probably a win rate of 85 or 87% going into that Game 7, and Philly won that game, okay? Super, super, super mind-bogglingly impressive to me, even with Jayson Tatum out. And we know that the 3-ball just vacated Boston in that game. Let's move on to the LVP.
Before we move on, can I just ask a quick question of you? Who wore it better? Was it Embiid in his post-conference with the shades, or is it our own insufferable Knicks fan, Dr. X? Who's wearing the glasses better? Let's take a quick poll.
It's Dr. X, and I'll tell you why. Wearing shades at a press conference right now is kind of what you do. Brunson's doing it. I'm not mad at anybody, okay? Like occasionally when I go out, if it's the right hang, I wear shades indoors, okay? So, if you can pull it off, you can pull it off. It's debatable if I can pull it off, but I'm still trying. But look at Dr. X right now. This dude is pulling it off, okay? And the other thing is, how many just super quick, how many podcast hosts in the United States of America are rocking shades? Okay, that's rare, and so I give the nod to Dr. X. Dwight, go ahead.
No, but the thing is, you guys have to understand, this is not a character for my cousin Phil. This is how he dresses all the time. He's always insufferable, whether he's a Knicks fan or not.
Get him,
he's
Doc.
always insufferable, so it don't matter. This is who he is.
It's not insufferable because of the gear. It's insufferable because of the vibe, because of my feelings towards the Knicks.
That's my point.
Doc's got that whole take no ish vibe right now, dude. You know what, Doc? I would absolutely love to spend a couple days in Manhattan right now and just walk around, go to Irish pubs, go to little bars and just talk to Knicks fans and just feel that energy, right? Because, dude, I lived up there 6 years, and the energy of New York City, it's like going through a portal. I try to explain it to people that have never been to New York City, and I give up after about 15 seconds. You either have to have been there, you cannot describe it. When I get off the plane at LAX and I go to LA, it's just a state and a city in America. I mean, it's lovely and I love it, but there's nothing like the pulsation of New York City. The only other city to me that creates a vibe that's just singular to that city is Miami, Florida. Okay, because it's the boom, chip, boom, 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 chip, boom, boom, chip, boom, boom. Just it's a vibe in Miami, man. I love it.
Oh, yeah.
All that Latin music and the house music. I freaking love it, man. All right. Anyway, let's do LVP for the Game 7s. I'm going to go first on this one. Jalen Suggs. Guys, you know that I love Jalen Suggs. He's the homie. By the way, I lost my Jalen Suggs jersey. It is the weirdest. I'm in the twilight zone, bros. I don't lose clothes, right? I'm 56 years old. I'm not 8, okay? I don't lose clothes. I have no idea. My Suggs jersey's gone. No clue where it is. Am I going to buy another one? I don't know. Anyway, Jalen, I love you. But I got to keep it real, guys. I got to keep it real. Game 7. 6 points, 2 of 9, 0 of 4 from 3. I mean, that's a puke bucket right there. Wait, it gets worse. In the last 4 games of that series, and I know we're talking Game 7, but I just want to give you some greater context here. In the last 4 games, he scored 28 points, shot 8 of 41, and shot 4 of 26 on threes. I don't understand. I literally don't understand those numbers. Doc's gonna love it. Najee Marshall is laughing at those numbers right now. Najee's 28. I'll give that to you in 1 game, brah. Not 4. Anyway, I love Jalen Suggs, but he is my LVP for the Game 7s. Dr. X, your least valuable player for all 3 of those Game 7s. Give me one guy.
You know what? I'm going to go with Suggs as well. I was thinking it was either Bane, but I was like, at least Bane showed up and won a game. And, even though he had a bad series, technically speaking, and they couldn't, hit the side of a barn in Game 6, up 24. But Suggs, in that game that Bane went off, if it weren't for Bane, he shot 1 of 10, I think, from 3 or whatever it was. And he just very surprising as a guard in the NBA to be a starter and just not hit any shots for 3 games in a row. It's horrible. So they probably won Game 1 because of him. But yeah, he's definitely my least valuable player. Absolutely. Jalen Suggs.
Have you just a random aside? Have you guys been enjoying Robbie Hummel on the NBC broadcast?
Absolutely.
Give me a quick
yes.
Just give me
yes.
a quick answer on that.
1,000% yes.
Haven't seen it, so I can't comment.
To me, he's a budding star in the play-by-play game, and I've been watching him all year. And they've had this broadcast where he's on a bench and Austin Rivers is on a bench, creative and kind of cool. But now they just have him sitting at the – and I love Austin Rivers too. But just shout out to Robbie Hummel. I did a Chicago Bulls training camp shoot with him.
Dope.
Yeah, he's been great. He's got a great low voice too. Robbie Hummel, I'm feeling it out there. Dwight Walton, let's go to you for your LVP of the 3 Game 7s.
My LVP is not even a player. It's a coach. It's Joe Mazzulla.
I knew it.
He was on my list too, Dwight.
Going in a completely different direction.
I'm so happy you went here, Dwight. Sorry, I'll stop talking. I'm just so happy you went here.
Okay. You find out that you're losing your best player, technically, due to injury going into Game 7. Then you double down and you start Luka Garza, Blake Shireman, and I forget who the third one was. And
Ron Harper. Or whatever.
Ron Harper Jr.
Yeah.
Ron Harper Jr.
Yeah.
Ron Harper Jr. Thank you very much, fellas.
Who put 4 minutes.
Those 3 players combined to score 0 points. So you put your team behind the 8 ball. And he was asked the question in his post-game presser, what was your thought process about starting those 3 guys? Well, it was a feel thing. We felt that we had, and I'm sure analytics played into his decision. Talking about it was a feel thing. We felt good about this process, blah, blah, blah. It was a wrong move to do. That starting 5 had never played together the entire season. And to do that with your season on the line makes absolutely 0 sense. You know what? We could talk about Suggs. We could talk about the other players who performed poorly. This is squarely on Joe Mazzulla. Mazzulla is lucky that he has a championship. And I understand that he has that Bill Belichick type of feel when it comes to press conferences, and that's his new shtick. And I get it, and I respect it. But Joe, come on now. You can't look your locker room in the face and honestly think that you were going to win with that starting lineup. And the Sixers appropriately got off to the great start that they did, mostly in part because of that makeshift lineup that Joe Mazzulla put out there. The answer is easy for me. My LVP for Game 7, Boston head coach Joe Mazzulla.
Alpha's co-signing me, Jalen Suggs, puke bucket. We see you out there. Is that Alpha or Alpha? I need to get my eyes checked.
Alpha,
anyway,
Alpha and then Omega.
Alpha, we love you out there, Alpha. Just super quick, Dwight. So I thought about making Mazzulla my guy, and I love Joe Mazzulla. By the way, Joe Mazzulla's 10,000 times funnier than Bill Belichick. I'll just say that. Bill Belichick
100%.
has never. He's been a. Gosh, I'm searching for the right bad word to say on a family. He's been a jerk, okay? But he's never been funny. So, A.M. Pfeffer, your LVP of the 3 Game 7s. Who you got?
Rick, I understand the assignment this time. I'm just going to pick one guy.
No, you're the man.
This is also an easy one for me. And I love Dwight's answer because I've thought about that as well. Sticking in that series between Boston and Philadelphia, my answer is one Nikola Vucevic. Here's my man's stat line. 0 points, 0 rebounds, 0 assists, and 0 minutes. You'd think this guy is a cop back in his own country eating donuts. Dude, you were a DNP coach's decision because the much maligned Mazzulla couldn't even put you on the floor. You were traded mid-season to make a difference as a big man. They gave Anna Simons for you. You were supposed to come in and mean something down the stretch, giving Keita actual relief. You were riding pine because the coach couldn't put you in. Played 6 games prior to that. DMP, coach's decision. Not hurt. You just suddenly suck. Absolute LVP. Vucevic.
Imagine that, AM. They went with Luka Garza over Nick Vucevic. The Celtics
To start.
The Celtics punted on Vucevic. They regret making that trade. They punted on him.
I don't think so. On game 7, couldn't even put him in when he was supposed to be an absolute, put a 20, 25-minute guy. Couldn't even get, again, Ron Harper Jr. started the game and got 4 minutes. Shireman at 22. Shireman, who wasn't even playing, off the bench at all, suddenly was starting, getting 22 minutes. Vucevic didn't even see the floor. What the hell was Mazzulla doing in that game? It's insane.
I gotta jump in here, man. I think Joe Mazzulla's deployment or lack thereof of Nikola Vucevic was disgusting. It's unconscionable that you don't go from a walking double-double, a flirt with 2010 every night, to sucking. You don't. I don't. Maybe can't move his feet on the perimeter. Maybe can't do a certain thing that fits the Boston system. Vooch could play for me, and I was flabbergasted that Mazzulla did not start Vucevic. I figured that some radical curveball was coming. Well, Vucevic starting would have been a radical curveball. And Joe Mazzulla, who, again, I love him. I'm going to get over it. I think he did a phenomenally horrible job of coaching Game 7, okay? A phenomenally horrible job. But if you start Vucevic, guess what you get? You get the revenge angle. Vooch, once upon a time, played for Philadelphia. Would it still matter 10, 12, 13 years later? I don't know. Maybe I'm reaching. So let's move on. We got to take Doc into the XSN clinic and talk Ant-Man. This is a huge topic, and we have breaking news. Ant-Man went through shoot-around this morning. Oh!
So you're saying he can walk? He can walk?
Oh! You don't say.
Jump? Jump
it's
shooting, or is he shooting it from the chair? Is he shooting from the chair, or is he jump shooting? He's probably shooting from the chair.
I got to sit through this, AM. This is insane to me. I got to sit through this.
Okay, Dwight, you better take your medicine, man.
Dwight is going to have his say. Dwight, we are going to ultimately ask the question to the crew. Should the Wolves green light or red light Ant-Man for Game 1? Okay? But before we get to that, one of the foremost sports medicine radiologists in the world, the insufferable Dr. X, all right, is going to weigh in. Here are the details, Doc. The Wolves listed Ant-Man on Sunday as questionable for this game. That was a major upgrade. A couple of days ago, he was week to week. Okay? Week to week. And now he's been upgraded. And by the way, when you are upgraded, it almost always means you play. I said this in a tweet.
Yes.
When I saw that Jayson Tatum was downgraded, I put out a day of downgrade almost always means the player's going to miss the game. Looks like Tatum's going to miss Game 7. Bummer. Boom. He missed the game. I do this because I'm a fantasy guy. A day of game downgrade is I guess I need to go to the waiver wire and find another guy. It just almost 98% of the time that's what's up. Anyway, bone bruise, hyperextension, left knee in Game 4. He's been dealing with the right knee, Doc, right? He's had the sleeve and stuff on the right knee. And so thankfully the hyperextension happened to the other knee. This is the most important part. He was officially cleared for basketball activities ahead of Monday's shoot-around, which he did participate in. The level of participation, I do not know, okay? Team sources indicated to Shams Charania the initial target was Game 3 or 4, all right? But ESPN writes, Edwards appears to be accelerating that estimate. More. Edwards released a YouTube video on his personal page Sunday morning that included clips of him running on an underwater treadmill and an interview with their medical head, who said that the recovery timeline was 1 to 2 weeks. Here's some very, very important math as well. Embiid injured his left knee on that block attempt. And it was, so if he the bottom line is, if he plays tonight. It's 9 days removed. 9 days removed from the initial hyperextension. So the great Dr. X, do you green light or red light Ant-Man for game one?
Well, I think
Oh,
you answered your own question, Rick. They already greenlit him because it was the medical. He's been medically cleared to resume basketball activities. The fact that he's shooting around, he's jumping, he's doing all the stuff on the treadmill, all the stuff that I felt like that injury looks a lot worse than it actually is. It's a bone bruise. The one thing you want to make sure that doesn't happen to hyperextension is a PCL. If it's like a dashboard injury, potentially the ACL as well, and just the swelling. And that's the reason why you stay off it. Number one, it's very painful and could lead to more swelling. And then also you have compensation injuries because you're favoring one side. And really has an injury to the opposite knee. So all that said though, Rick, it's the playoffs. It's the playoffs. So I said in one of the comments in one of the posts that we did post, he would be pretty pissed off if he's in Cancun rehabbing and is on a treadmill, because part of recovering from a bone bruise or stress injury to the bone is you have to put weight on it. You do have to run on it. You do have to challenge your bones so that they can get stronger from you pressing it. So that's he'd have to be running anyway. So why not run on a hardwood? You're not running on concrete, run on hardwood. You get what I'm saying? So that
Totally.
that alone would be reason enough. And then we saw he viewed our story of him playing in game 7, and he probably should consider it, as I said. And you know what? It's in the same window of time. Game 7 versus game 1, they're about the same window of time. It is a week. If it's not a week, it's 8 days. It's not 8 days, it's 7 days. And to me, ultimately, it's up to Ant-Man. The fact that he can walk, he can bear jumping and shooting around. Because hey, if he couldn't shoot around, or he could probably shoot, I would say, hey, save that energy for the actual game. Because being a decoy is overrated. Is actually underrated. Like him being a decoy, him just being out there would actually been perfect enough to cause some havoc. And it also adds morale, like team morale shoots up as well when you see your star player giving it a go. You tend to play even harder. So all of that said, I would green light him, and then it's up to him if he wants to play. And Rick, I'm kind of with you now with kind of tapering my or tempering my I would say my opinions when it comes to
your
not being so.
insensitivity.
No, it's only because I feel like this era of our world is soft. And so
Oh
ultimately,
no,
if you're
no.
medically
Sing
clear,
it.
Dwight, I know for a fact you would play if you were
Of
medically
course.
cleared and they left it up to you, but you felt some pain. I know for a fact you would play if it was a national game against Team USA. And the reason I'm saying Team USA is if you could play against them, you could play against anybody. So you do it for your team. Don't be selfish. So my whole point is this is a playoffs. And so ultimately, if something happens and goes wrong, it's better that it was Ant-Man's decision to play knowing the risk. I'm not saying there's no risk here. I'm just saying knowing the risk is Ant-Man's decision to play. And so, but he's medically cleared to jump, to run, to be in the pool, to run the treadmill, all that stuff. So he should be clear to play the game. Now it's up to him if mentally, are you okay with playing knowing that you have this injury that could make you more prone to having another injury that would mess you up for next season? And that's why I used the Franz Wagner thing. I was just like, hey, even if you're Franz Wagner and you play on that calf, if you're not like the Oklahoma City Thunder, I'm not playing, because now he tears his Achilles. He's out for the next season with the new coach and all that stuff. So it's really situation based and based off the player. And ultimately, I would green light Ant-Man. And I would also say, Ant-Man, do you want to play? Yes or no? And if he says yes, he's playing. That's my view on these type of things.
Dwight Walton, it is your turn, my friend. Green light
Listen.
or red light, Ant-Man, because the doctor has spoken.
Listen, my only gripe, and I know y'all love the banter between my first cousin and myself. I love him very dearly. And I know he loves me dearly as well. My
Of
only
course, of
thing is
course.
that I feel that there is some insensitivity with Rick and my cousin towards injuries. I am not saying that these players shouldn't come back ahead of schedule and play. At the end of the day, it's their jobs to perform. If they feel that they can play at 60%, get your behind on the playing surface and help your team. And to my cousin's astute point, just for being out there, it gives your team a boost from a motivational standpoint, a confidence standpoint, and maybe some players have an outer body experience because they see that their leader is on the floor. We can go back to the New York Knicks and Willis Reed. He played what? Minimal minutes in that game, scored the first 2 baskets, and then never came back on the floor. But that inspired his team. Of course, Walt Clyde Frazier probably had the game of his career, 37 points. I think it was 15 rebounds, 8 assists. He was insane. Maybe that inspired the great Walt Clyde Frazier to play. So I am all for Anthony Edwards coming back. I'm all for Ayo Dosunmu to come back ahead of schedule. This is the playoffs. This is when legacies are made. I fully understand that. I'm not easing off my opinion. I still do feel that Rick and my cousin are sort of get your ass out there and play, so to speak. I'm not with that 100%, but I do understand it. And to your point, cuz, not to pat myself on the back, if I needed to take a cortisone shot, if I had to take the strongest pill legally to get my behind back on the floor, I am a walking testament. You guys know my injuries: broken jaw, elbow surgery, both my hips replaced, 5 knee surgeries, all 4 of my wisdom teeth have been taken out, dislocated shoulder. I played through all of that. So I fully understand the premise to go out there and play. And once you're questionable, once you go through a shoot around, whether he's shooting from a chair or not, all you're telling me is that you're playing in game 1. You're playing in game 1 against the San Antonio Spurs. And yes, his presence will inspire the Minnesota Timberwolves to go into San Antonio and steal game 1 tonight. I think it's going to happen. I think even without Dante DiVincenzo, Ayo Dosunmu, and Anthony Edwards, the Wolves still have enough athletically and depth-wise to compete with the upstart San Antonio Spurs. That's how today's NBA is built. You need athletes that can get it done on both ends of the floor. And as we're finding out, the Wolves have Jalen Clark, they've got Terrence Shannon Jr., and a host of characters that are playing well. They're going to give the Spurs a much better series than what people think. And if you add on, DiVincenzo's not coming back, but Ayo Dosunmu and Anthony Edwards, the Spurs better be careful. All of us want to see ultimately a Thunder Spurs series, but hold your horses. The Lakers, not so much. But the Minnesota Timberwolves, they feel they have a legitimate shot at beating the Spurs and spoiling the Thunder Spurs Western Conference Finals party.
Shout out to Alpha.
I'm with you. Yeah.
Pardon me, Doc. Shout out to Alpha. Says he's got to head out, but he'll be listening on the drive. Awesome show. We appreciate you, Alpha. Doc, did you have anything to add to that? I thought we may get some seals, some swords clanging, it's not going down that way.
No, because my cousin knows when he's right. He knows to admit it. When he's wrong as well. But I just feel like ultimately, I also agree. I know we're probably jumping the gun, but I went through all the matchups, and I think the Timberwolves are going to win in 7, Rick, just so you know.
Yeah, we're gonna do predictions in a minute. Yeah. Wow, an early bombshell. Let's call that a tease on our prediction segment right there. Doc's picking my Wolves. I'm gonna have to go get that. Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna have to put that sweater back
coming up after the break.
Yeah, by the way, we have Andrew Salop, aka It's 1-2 Combo on Twitter, host of Combo's Court. Our buddy is back in the fold, and we're getting him on in, 7 minutes or whatever it is.
He owes me an apology, Rick. Just make sure. He owes me an
Okay.
apology, that guy.
Well, we'll start this. We'll start the interview with the Doc apology. I'm writing that down right now. All right, we'll get right into it. There he is. There's the handsome man, Andrew. 1-2 step Salop. All right, AM Pfeffer, are you green lighting or red lighting Ant-Man for Game 1?
I'm gonna answer that question in a moment, but I do have a question for Dwight. Dwight, this is the second time I've heard about your wisdom teeth as part of your long history of injuries. So I got to ask you this question. I need to know, did you get your wisdom teeth taken out and then played that night? This is important to me.
No, that's a good question. No, I was told, trust me, I had a game that week and I had to miss it. I was told not to play until my cheeks came down a bit. I had a ton of swelling. I had a ton of blood and inflammation in my mouth. Trust me, AM, I wanted to play.
You would have been out there, though. You wanted to play. They sat
I
you.
wanted to play 1,000%. But
Yeah.
listen, with me, luckily I have a great family support staff. They look out for me. They told me, think long term. Stop thinking in the short term. You have too much going for you going forward. I was young at the time, but my mouth was on fire. I had, man, my jaw injury, my 4 wisdom teeth. I don't wish that on anybody. That was some serious pain. All 4 of them came out at the same time.
Yep. And and I'm so glad you put it all the way that you did, because this leads me to my answer. Think of the long term. Red light. I don't think Ant-Man needs to play tonight. If I was the coach, I would not put him out there. I like that he's in the shoot around. I love that he wants to play. He can have his full-time killer status in my book if that's what this comes down to, and he's worried about all of us calling him a part-time killer. But this is a team, okay, that took care of business at home. This is a team where 2 things have happened in the previous series. One is the emergence of Jaden McDaniels as an absolute S-talker who backed it up, by the way, and then had a tremendous game, put a huge stamp on it. And the emergence, finally, this is the first time I've really seen him play to his true ability. Rudy Gobert was exceptional for the most part in the entire series, last series. Let these guys go out there without you. You've already been in the shoot-around. You've already given the inspiration. You've already shown your team that you want to play. But here's it. Look, you lost DiVincenzo. You lost Ant-Man, and they know it. And Dosunmu, who couldn't even go in Game 6, and you still won Game 6. So, well, now he's back, and he was exceptional himself last series. This is okay. See what you can get done. Sneak one out. Go down in San Antonio. See what you're dealing with first. What type of team are you up against before you put Edwards on the floor and risk further injury? To me, it's probably okay if he comes back in Game 3. And by then, he's absolutely going to be back in front of the home crowd. A very different look if that's the case. I'd like to see him back in Game 2. We all would, but I'd red light him for tonight. I don't think it's necessary to put out the risk tonight. See what you're up against. See what your team can do without him. You've already seen what they could do without him, and it was pretty damn good last series.
What if I told you his risk is the same as Game 3, as Game 1 is the same?
Okay, then I have a question with a question. Is the risk is not really the concern as much of it is the healing process between now and then going to give him better bounce, better lift, better energy, or is that the same as well?
We don't know.
You would know.
We don't know.
We don't know.
We don't know.
Okay.
It's a
so
if he's able to play,
then only he knows. If it's a non-risk factor, I'm with you on that. But if there's an opportunity to rest further, feel better, have better lift, have better confidence, have better bounce, I would say sit him.
He has the whole summer to rest.
So just
say that again. Say that again.
He has the whole summer to rest. He has the whole summer to rest.
I'm big on that, by the way, or rehab. Okay, your summer, it might be a rehab summer, and a lot of players want to make a decision. Anyway, I don't want to go down that road. Couple of things here. First of all, like what Dwight was saying about like insensitivity. I'm sort of no look. I am not a finished product. We will never be a finished product until God comes to get us. Okay, so I'm always evolving. I'm always trying to improve and get better. And the reason that I've been so like ferocious about the injury thing, and yeah, maybe insensitive, is what Doc said. Society is ultra soft these days, and it bothers the you-know-what out of me. And there are spasms and flare-ups of rebellion against it, okay? And so that's where that comes from. I didn't start it. It's the wussification of America that started it. It's not my fault, okay? I'm a victim of it. In this way, yes, that was a sarcastic comment at the end there. But I'm in a new zone now. So I'm going to offer up my opinion on injuries with players. And if they don't play, I'm not going to call them soft. I'm not going to bang on them. I'm not going to just take them deep like an Aaron Judge 450-foot home run. I'm not doing that anymore. All right. But I am still going to have this inclination that guys should play in games like this, but it's going to be case by case. But I just want to say that I'm in a little bit more graceful zone on the injury thing. Sharp opinions, but the other thing, anyway, I've said what I need to say.
Rick?
Yes.
If I could just say one thing before we move on. Again, I am a walking testament. I felt that I've had broken toes, broken fingers, inflammation in my knee, and because I was on the national team and in professional leagues, our doctors have had access to anti-inflammatory injections or pills that are not privy to the normal public. So I understand that if you can get on the playing surface, and I'm definitely, like I said, a walking testament, if you truly want to get on the playing surface, you can. Now, these drugs are very strong, so it's highly recommended you take them with food. However, these pills, these injections, they do work. So I can say that. So I'm sure if Edwards does play tonight, he is having he's taking something that will help him get through game one and possibly the rest of the playoffs.
One more thing before I give you my answer on this. Steve Smith, the great Smitty's, he created one of the greatest moves that we see players do in almost every game you watch. You look this way, you come back this way, the defense goes. It's called the Smitty, okay? I worked with him for, 10 years, whatever it was. He told me, because we were talking about injuries one time, and I said, how much of a difference is it between, let's say, there's a decision to make on Sunday and the player's next game is on Tuesday. How much healthier is a ball player 2 days later? Okay. How much of a difference, how much more healed and recovered can you be? Steve Smith said, in no uncertain terms, you are basically the exact same. Okay. He said 2 days is not going to make a substantial difference in how you got a sprained ankle, you got a sprained shoulder, whatever it is. 2 days is not going to all of a sudden, oh my God, I can't believe how great I feel today. He said that's not the case. So his vibe was essentially, you might as well play on Sunday because you ain't really going to be feeling a whole lot better on Tuesday. Okay, that's from Steve Smith, not from me, just relaying it to you. Andrew Salop, a.k.a. Combo, coming up soon. Here's my answer on Ant-Man. Green light. Guys, got some math for you. Giannis Antetokounmpo returned for game one of the NBA Finals with almost a 20-20 game, 7 days after suffering a brutal hyperextended knee that frankly looked a lot worse than Ant-Man's. I'm not saying it will. I'm just saying the optics of it were worse for Giannis than they were for Ant-Man, in my personal opinion. I was haunted by the Giannis thing for a minute. It was like, had to look away. This will be 9 days for Ant-Man. He's got a reputation for playing through injuries and returning earlier, than doctors tell him to or reported estimates. Here's some more math for you. In NBA history, home teams that win game one, are y'all sitting down for this? Home teams that win game one of a best of seven have an 85% chance of winning the series. 85% chance. That's a greater chance than your percentage of winning a home game seven. That is a greater chance of series tied at 2 and you win game 5. Okay? Doc said in our group chat, and that's why I looked this up, Doc. He said, game 1 is as important as game 7. Amen, brother. Amen. Never truer words have been spoken. And that stat is all you need to know. Well, really, you just should listen to Dr. X. But okay, I gave you a stat to co-sign what he said. But again, it's not any team. It's the home team winning game one. You know what? Winning game one, 85% chance. By the way, if the road team wins game one, it's like a 51% chance.
Expected to play, Rick. Just came out. Sham Charania, Edwards is expected to play game
Let's
one.
go. Let's go.
So he is greenlit.
He is greenlit,
Medically,
baby.
His heart greenlit him too. His coach greenlit him.
Phil, AM is double checking your source. He's on his phone right now.
It doesn't matter.
I'm chatting with Shamba. Let me just see.
Yeah, I saw it on Sleeper Fantasy. Sleeper Fantasy, which quoted Shams. Sleeper Fantasy is quicker than all of those.
Yes.
Underdog
not
too.
Quicker than Dwight's finger.
Underdog NBA, by the way, is phenomenal with the injury stuff. I got it. Sleepers. Maybe I'm sleeping on Sleeper NBA. But I know that Underdog NBA, man, they got that stuff out.
Sleeper Fantasy, I've been told too. Sleeper Fantasy is like super quick with that news, really quick.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm not a huge fan of their app though. I don't know. I guess I'll
I like it for the alerts. I tried it for other reasons for a fantasy thing, but that didn't work out. But I kept it because I like the alerts I get for everything. So.
Right. Oh, I see what you're saying. Anyway, all right. So let me see what else I had to say here. Okay, just one last point here because we just found out the news. Guys, there's no need for a ramp up here. There's no need for a ramp up.
Yeah.
The guy's been out 9 days. He's been running underwater with a treadmill. He reportedly has been aggressively attacking his rehab. You don't need a ramp up. We're going to ramp him up. No, the hell you don't. Ramp him up in the first quarter of the game, okay? And you guys know I still will be outspoken about this. Teams playing the long game with players, seeing how a series goes. I mean, that it's the most loser mentality. It's not the most, but it is a loser's mentality. To me, the Lakers did this in the last series. Just let me make this point. They did it with Reeves. Okay. They played the long game. Oh my God, we lost 2 games. It's 3-2. We kind of got to go for it now. Boom. Reeves comes back. Was that a coincidence? Hell no, that wasn't a coincidence. The Lakers got away with playing the long game because the basketball gods threw lightning bolts down on the Lakers. They did. Okay. But Houston screwed it up. I mean, guys, if Houston does not, if Jabari Smith does not throw that pass to Marcus Smart, then Jayson Tatum doesn't foul Marcus Smart. And if Reed Shepherd just passes the ball ahead and doesn't get ripped and then LeBron hits the 3, what happens in that series? Okay? So the Lakers, to me, played with fire, playing the long game, and they got away with it. But you rarely get away with it. And now I believe that, and again, I'm not criticizing the player. I'm not calling Luka SOFT, none of that stuff. Okay, I'm done with that. But I do believe that the Lakers are arrogantly and delusionally playing the long game with Luka here against OKC. Because what do you hear? You hear, oh, Luka's kind of maybe game 3, game 4. That's playing the long game. And again, is this hamstring really going to be that much more healthy like 5 days from now? You know, that game 1 for them is tomorrow night. And then game 3 probably over the weekend. Is this hammy really going to be that much better 5 days later? I'm not buying
Probably
it.
not. Yeah.
I'm not buying it.
I think the Lakers are playing gamesmanship with us, the media, the fans. I think Luka's done for the season. You can't listen, we all understand the pace of play, specifically with the Thunder. You can't bring Luka Doncic back for a series against the highest paced, most aggressive, hands-on defensive team currently left in the NBA. You can't. You're asking for disaster with Luka Doncic. I hear you, Rick, but not against the Thunder. Had it been more of a half-court situation, okay, we could talk. But they're gonna expose Luka defensively. He's gonna have to twitch move in directions he doesn't normally want to do, even when he's in the best of shape. But I want to go back to the crux of this conversation. Are you upset with the Celtics, or more with Jayson Tatum for him making the decision to not play in Game 7, according to your premise of this discussion right here? Because the Celtics obviously played the long game. They're looking towards the future more than Game 7 on Saturday night.
All right, it's a great question. I'm going to give you a quick answer because I want Dr. X, and I had this planned for the show anyway. So my thing on Tatum is I don't believe that it was a knee injury that kept him out. He was grabbing his calf in Game 6. I think it was a calf injury that they masked or sugarcoated by calling it a knee. And then Tatum had to get in with the story and, lie to the media, essentially, like Ty Simpson had to out in L.A. Did you hear that garbage about, no. Me and McVay met and we've talked. No, you didn't. All the initial reports were, and McVay hated the damn pick. It's a lie. And the team put him up to that. I'm not mad at Ty Simpson, okay? He's along for the ride in this thing. But I think the Celtics lied on the injury report. I think it was a calf injury. They don't want all hell breaking loose. Oh my God, he's got another calf injury. He's going to have another Achilles. He's going to blow out his Achilles again. You know what Boston fans are, all right? So I think they called it a knee, stiffness. All right, big deal. He'll get over that whenever. So that's why I'm not upset about this, because I think Jayson Tatum legitimately jacked up his calf. And I think he's worried about it, and I think the team is worried about it.
Agreed.
So that's why I'm not yelling about it at all. Dr. X, come on in here. What's your thoughts on all of that?
Well, yeah, I agree with you. I saw your text, and I think it's unless the MRI says it's a knee versus a calf, we don't know. So a lot of times they always say stuff about this is what the physical exam shows, this is what the actual history is, this is what we're looking for. And then the MRI blows all of that up because they don't have the X-ray vision. I got the X-ray vision. So as
Yes,
a
you do,
radiologist,
Yep.
I'm the one that is going to tell you what's up. And then the surgeon is not going to operate unless they see what the X-ray or the MRI is. And, usually these are MRIs that I'm reading. And, that could be a myriad of things. It could be a popliteus tendon. Most people don't know what that is, but that's when you look up tennis leg, or when you rip something over there, it can feel like it's Achilles, but it's not the Achilles. But that could technically be in the knee, because pain radiates and all things of that nature. There's swelling. You can't really know where it's coming from exactly. So they just have to clarify what it is. But I do agree that they said they're not going to say the dreaded word calf injury, because not everybody assumes the worst. That's what happened. I think Franz shouldn't have played. I also agree Tatum shouldn't have played. This issue, and this is why I think Joe Mazzulla was also one of my LVP runner-ups, because they should have never lost that home game. And it's because of the way they play why they lost. It's supposed to adjust in game, and because they have no not reason, but they just have no ability, or they choose not to, and they're always just gonna play the way they want to play regardless of the situation. They should never have lost Game 1 without no Joel Embiid. That was a totally winnable game, and that game would have made a big difference right there. They would have been playing whoever in the next round. Well, actually, the Knicks. So, but you know what? I'm glad the better team won, because I'd rather see a team full strength. I don't care what the odds are. I'd rather see both teams full strength, and that's what we got. But yeah, as for Luka, really quickly, they may be playing that long game, but I think it's more of what I was saying previously about LeBron James, them giving him a chance to shine and do things against an inferior team, especially when they heard KD was out. There was no reason there was no reason for them to actually take LeBron out. I mean, not LeBron, but they had great odds of winning without KD there. So when they started winning Game 1, and you win Game 2, and then somehow you pull off winning Game 3 when they should have won Game 3, why are you going to bring back Luka? And then, but to your point, Rick, and I think Dwight may have said this, I think it is a lot worse than people are saying. And he probably isn't going to play at all. And they probably saw the buzzsaw in the OKC Thunder waiting for them. And it was like, what's the point? And so they're kind of like, they don't want to mess up ticket sales, because you feel like, hey, he could probably come back. But if you hear that Luka's done for the season, your season is essentially over. So now it's going to affect ticket sales. So I think that's what
Great
it is
point.
right there.
So you think
Also,
Luka's actually out for the season, Doc? You agree with
yeah,
Dwight on that?
I think so.
The fact that they're saying 3 or 4 game 3 or 4 he can return, the series might be over because you already lost games 1 and 2. So based off of that, now they have an excuse to say, well, because we lost games 1 and 2, we're likely, especially if they lose game 3. So are you come back game 4, right? But then they lose game 3, and based off those odds, then you'll hear game time decision questionable, but then doesn't play, doubtful. And then
Wow.
so that's why. So the only way he'll probably play is they somehow miraculously are able to beat the Thunder one of those 3 games. But I really think that they're just dragging it out for the sake of having the fans dialed in, all of America dialed in. Hey, I think Luka could come back. I think Luka can come back. And then also LeBron, it gives
Wow.
LeBron a chance to be the hero at 41, where it's really not on him if they win or lose, because the fact that he's still playing and at this level, it's a win-win for LeBron too and his fans, like Dwight Wilson.
Our resident
First of all,
LeBron advocate. Hey, come on in here, man. What you got on this?
You know, I'm with everybody on the Luka feeling at this point. I think he's done for the season. I think they're playing some gamesmanship. I mean, he is very hurt. I mean, you might see him if somehow they make it all the way to the finals, but he's way too hurt to be even considering coming back any of these games. And going back to Ant-Man for a second, look, you mentioned the loser's mentality to see what it is you got in game 1. Doc, you're mentioning that game 1 is just as important in game 7. And Rick, you threw this stat that in the entire play, I mean, I believe it was the entire playoffs home game, right? You win a home game and the first home game. If you're the home team and you win the game, 85% of the time you're winning the series, no matter the round. Is that right?
That is correct.
Okay.
And a super surprising statistic for me. Go ahead.
Okay, let's take a look at what just happened last round. Who won game 1 at home between Denver and Minnesota? I'll save you the suspense. The Nuggets won. They went up 1-0 in the series, and Minnesota, in their 15%, took down the Nuggets in only 6 games. They're on a heater. They've got the depth. They've got the right guys playing. That's the only reason I said about Ant-Man. I don't think it's a
I think
loser's
it's also
mentality.
Aaron Gordon. There's other layers to stuff like that. I think it's an Aaron Gordon issue as well.
Well, there's always something to be said of what's going on the other side, right? There's always something.
And that's why
you're
you
talking
need to
about
play full strength. That's why you play full strength, because him playing allowed them to win game 1, which gave them better odds to win the whole series, but he couldn't make it through. So I think not having Aaron Gordon was a big reason. And that's exactly how Luka would look playing. Luka would look like Aaron Gordon right now. That's what I think Luka would look like, is what Aaron Gordon. And they don't want the Aaron Gordon problem with Luka Doncic. So I think that's what they're seeing.
But throwing in Aaron Gordon completely discredits the entire history of the NBA, where, because we have it's impossible to know exactly what happened in every single series where 85% of the time the home team won game 1, or the home team wins game 1, and then 85, right? Then they win 85. Like, who knows if full strength, not full strength, but a myriad of series to figure that out. That's not the issue, right? You've made the point, Doc, that there's really no difference, that there's no risk. And that's, my head was going that there was still some risk with that. So in that respect, that was the reason I said the red light. But if you're saying there's no risk and Ant-Man's ready to go and he's still a young guy and he wants to play,
I'm saying the risk doesn't change.
True.
Yeah.
Because you saw Aaron Gordon in the game that he played. He shouldn't have played. Now he gave it a go. I believe he played 20 some odd minutes, but he was not even remotely close to the player that he was for their championship run. He is an integral part of what the Nuggets need to do. We talk about all the athletic depth that the Timberwolves have. After Aaron Gordon, there isn't much. Peyton Watson not playing. There was a lot of circumstances going on with the Nuggets. I wasn't surprised they lost to the Wolves, even with the great Nikola Jokic. Jokic wasn't good enough to overcome the athletic depth of the Minnesota Timberwolves. And back to Jayson Tatum, I want to clear something up here. There are reports that he was feeling tightness behind the knee. So what that tells me, it necessarily wasn't like a knee, it was tightness behind the knee. That tells me it could have been a combination of a calf, an Achilles, a hamstring, all of that. So that's why you didn't see Tatum play in Game 7, because the fear was something was going to go. When you've got tightness like that behind your knee, there's a myriad of stuff that could happen. And that's why Jayson Tatum made the right decision in not playing.
Hey, Doc, do you think it's a great job, Dwight, to bring that up. And we talked about, they called it a knee. Was it actually a calf? Like, does that actually, Doc, kind of support our theory even more that it was the calf and not the knee? Or am I wrong in saying that?
Well, so there is an actual official report, like he had an MRI, or the team released.
No,
I just read a
was
report that it was stiffness behind the knee. I just went out on Google,
well, the
and
calf
just,
is
not that I don't trust Dwight, but I was like, I wanted to see the report. But yeah, there is a report out there about that.
Yeah, the calf is connected to the knee, so there's a way to fudge it. They're not technically lying. The gastrocnemius muscles, medial head and lateral head, do connect there, and as well as the plantaris tendon, which is the tennis leg I was telling you guys about, and then there's a popliteus tendon, and then also you could just have fluid build up there. You could have a Baker cyst. A Baker cyst is in the knee. It's fluid that's in between those muscles, and then it radiates pain into the calf. So that's still something that they could easily have just put a needle in, but they don't want to risk it because he's having calf pain from Baker cyst. Why? Because there's inflammation there. So that inflammation then could lead to him rupturing the other Achilles that was never ruptured before. So now he'd miss another year. So all in all, it was the right move to make, given the history. Like, some people are just more prone to tearing their Achilles tendon, and obviously because he had one, he's got to be in that number. So I would say, based off of that, it was the right move. Like, why risk it? I mean, they should just be proud of how well they played the whole year. They never gave up. They got the Anthony Simons pick. Then they flipped that into Vucevic, even though they didn't use him for Game 7, which they could have used him. And then all of that said, they did pretty well. Up 3-1, they just didn't capitalize on winning some of the games they should have won at home. You can't lose two games in the playoff, two home games in the playoffs like that to a good
You know
team
what
like
else?
this.
It's so true. And you know what else is funny? Somebody asked Jaylen Brown, up 3-1, and he what was the difference? And Jaylen was like, Joel Embiid, hello. He didn't say it like I'm saying it, but he said
there's more controversy about that on First Take. We should get into Jaylen Brown later if it's not on the list, but he's talking about flopping. This is 2 hours after they lost. He goes on a podcast, has his boys standing in the background with shades on like your boy, including Jaylen Brown, and then they're talking about how it's flopping. He was saying Joel Embiid is the biggest flop. Look, when you lose, just take your L like a man. You were up 3-1.
Thank you.
You have no excuse. You had to win one game out of 3. They pretty much gave you a head start, like the big brother versus the little bro. Hey, I'll spot you some points. I'll actually spot you some wins. Let's see if you can win. All right, we're gonna get Joel Embiid back by Game 4. We'll let you win that game because he's just getting adjusted. And now let's see if you can win 2 or 3 games. They can't do it. So just shut your mouth, Jaylen Brown. There's no reason for him to be like that. Then he adds insult to injury to his legacy, by saying this was his favorite year by far and doesn't qualify it. So even if you feel that way, Jason Williams was feeling the same way I felt. Even if you feel that way, you don't say it, that it's his best year, where he won a championship and was the finals MVP, and says this year is his favorite year. That's almost casting shade that you enjoyed your time without Tatum being next to you playing, which I'm sure isn't the case, but you got to know that's how people think. But I just feel like he doesn't care anymore.
Because
his personality.
It might be the case, Phil.
I'm
with you.
It might.
I gotta come in here and let's do a roundtable on this. I saw the Jaylen Brown stuff. I was like, kind of thought we'd be under a time constraint, but Andrew Salop is he's not ducking us. He's avoiding us because he doesn't want to have to make a contrite public apology to the great Dr. X here on Beyond the Surface. So he's not on the show. So let's talk about Jaylen. I'm so glad you brought this up because I'm a huge Jaylen Brown guy. But I saw this stuff about Oh, and he put hot sauce on it, not me. He said the NBA needs to investigate the refs. Bro.
No.
The trifecta, man. That's where he went wrong.
He wasn't,
Bro.
and you know what? He wasn't complaining about the refs when they won in Game 4 with the hobbled Embiid.
Correct.
He wasn't complaining, all those things. And then you know what? Why don't you explain why you lost Game 2 at home with no Joel Embiid? You want to highlight why he's flopping, all this flopping talk. Was he flopping on the sideline in his dress clothes? No. So then it was up to you, and Jayson Tatum, who was healthy, by the way, in that game, and you both lost $300 million later.
Here's the other thing about Jaylen Brown that's not sitting well with me. What Dr. X said about my favorite year was this year. How? Like I just kept it real with Jalen Suggs and Joe Mazzulla. I mean, those are two of my absolute faves. Jaylen Brown will remain one of my absolute faves. But, and Dwight, you know this, and Doc, you probably know this too. There's a phrase that ball players use, that you're on some BS, okay? And what a lot of times that means is you're feeling yourself, right? And you're on some BS. You're a $15 million player and you want max. I'm just giving you an example, but you're on some BS. Or I think the Golden State Warriors thought Jordan Poole was on some BS, as they say. And I think that was one of the reasons why Draymond, smacked him, is because Poole was feeling himself a little bit. And you heard, Steph and Clay were kind of talking about, young fella needs to chill and stuff like that. And then boom, you get, but I'm not condoning the punch. Don't get me wrong. Jaylen Brown smacks to me of being on some BS right now. First year as an MVP candidate. And again, I love this dude. I do. I think he's a tremendous human being, but we've all made mistakes. We've all fallen into little things, right? And I think he needs to re-humble himself here. Your first year in the MVP chase, you did great things, helping Boston overachieve, and just we're out here cheering on it, man. Like, it's amazing. But to say that this was your favorite season over a season where you got 2 trophies and a parade and a lifetime of legendary status in arguably the greatest basketball city we have in our country, and as Doc said, MAX came with that too. But this was your favorite year when you get beat in the first round in heartbreaking fashion? Dude, what are you saying? What he's saying is he wants to be a 1. And he proved this year that he can be a winning 1. But here's the other thing. In that 1 minute thing that Jaylen said, he also said that, and he didn't mention Tatum by name, but when talking about where it went wrong, he said we had to shift and change rotations. You know what that means?
100%. Yeah.
Kind of sort of blaming Tatum's return, throwing stuff off. Okay. And so I didn't like that either. And that you really got to kind of listen and know the media game and how to extrapolate. Otherwise, that line probably went in one ear and out the other. Not for me. I was like, oh, he's talking about rotations and how the team had to shift. What? Well, let's see. What happened to make the team shift their rotations? Tatum came back. And in the same soundbite, he says basically he'd rather play without Jayson Tatum than with him. So Jaylen lost me for 1 minute. The greater body of work, I'm rocking with Jaylen Brown. Okay, I am. I still am. Still love the guy. I haven't bought that jersey yet. I'm still deliberating. But AFF, come on in here on all this, man. What do you think about all this?
Yeah, look, I get where, you see this all the time with athletes, especially so quickly after the game. Take a day before you go on Twitch or Discord or
48 hours.
You want to be take 48 hours.
48
Yeah.
hours.
Write out the email and then delete it. Write out the text and then delete it before you go do these things. I mean, you're proving the points here. But I still, regardless of if you did it right after the game or if you did it 2 days later, you're probably going to hear some griping about the refs. You're probably going to hear some griping about Joel Embiid and his flopping. Didn't love it. Does not a good look and all of that. But this Tatum stuff is interesting to me. I do want him to extrapolate on this. Rick, I love you bringing this up. I mean, and here's the other thing about this. I've never bought that these guys have been boys. Not once. Not in the last 5 years. Not in the last 6 years. And I know there's this notion that they're good friends and they're off the court and all of this. But there's been so much smoke in this relationship. And there's always this slight edge that goes to Tatum in all of this, including, I believe, his salary slightly higher than Brown's. And both these guys are getting paid an exorbitant amount of money, right? There's just something about it. And Brown saying that, I will give Brown to say one thing about this being his favorite year. It makes sense if you feel that way, and I understand. Again, you won a chip, you won the Finals MVP, but a lot of people said that you shouldn't. But this year there was no debate that you were, between you and Cade, were first team All NBA in that 5th spot. That's no debate about that, and you were absolutely a top 5 candidate for most of the year for MVP. So in his personal space, I would agree, and it's cool for him to say that. But he did say it in such a way that he's throwing shade at Tatum. And it is strange why he said it and when he said it the way that he did 2 hours after the game when he's talking about Embiid and talking about the refs as well. And I do really want to say, again, never believe these two are boys. And I'm not saying that they can't still coexist. You can't say that the two greatest wings in the NBA, when they play together, they're the two greatest wings in that capacity to keep Boston a 50-plus win team, and there's more to be said and done here. But there's no question. Dwight, Doc, Rick, you all kind of alluded to it. There's shade being thrown. And it's an interesting thing in the dynamic of two guys making as much money as they are and have had as much success as they are, have had.
Fellas, any other comments? Or are we ready to move on?
No. I want to say something here. You've heard me allude to this throughout the year, and this goes back to the Olympic team stuff. And listen, first of all, I want to applaud Jaylen Brown for his activism, first of all, he is a very intelligent, very smart individual. He's a very calculated individual. He speaks on a lot of topics, particularly when it comes to the Black community, that I highly respect and I'm on board with. But I've also been on record as saying, ever since Jaylen Brown has been in the NBA, he has felt that he was the best player in the NBA when he was drafted. He was insulted that he went even as low as he did in his draft class. Here's a guy, and again, to go to the Olympic team, who's to say that Grant Hill and USA Basketball was going to add him to the team when injuries occurred? He put himself into that. Not necessarily that I know the media did it, the fan base did it, but maybe Grant Hill and USA Basketball had a different vision. Yes, he spoke about it's because he spoke negatively about Nike and other topics that go alongside with that. I understand that. But from a basketball standpoint, maybe Grant Hill and USA Basketball wasn't even thinking about him. Now, yes, Derek White was the choice ahead of Jaylen Brown. So Jaylen Brown sort of piggybacked off of that, basically saying, Derek White can't shine my shoes, so why are you choosing him over me? I get all of that, but this just speaks to Jaylen Brown and his confidence. I'm not going to call it arrogance. I'm not going to call it cockiness. It's his confidence in himself. And whether he wants to believe it or not, sometimes things are better left unsaid. And the way he quoted saying, this was my favorite season, whether he's thinking it or not, we're going to think it was an obvious shade at, you know what? I was the man this season. I was in the MVP conversation. I got us to the second seed in the Eastern Conference. Yes, Jayson Tatum came towards the end of the season and played better than all of us expected. But the reality is, and if you were paying attention, it was because of me. I was in the MVP conversation. I was the alpha. You guys rode my back this season. So, of course, this was my favorite season. Totally disregarding the Eastern Conference MVP, the Finals MVP, the championship, and you're talking about this being your favorite season? No matter how you spin it, Jaylen, we all think you're thinking you're the man on this team, and things were better without Tatum. That's how we're going to take it. reality or not, it is what it is. Again, I'm not going to call it arrogance. I'm not going to call it cockiness. He's extremely confident in himself. So it is what it is. Also, in regards to him talking about flopping, ruining the NBA, dude, miss me with that. I respect you. I respect your ability. Flopping isn't ruining the NBA. And all this talk about you think there's a conspiracy and that the NBA and the officials specifically have something against you. No, man, it don't work that way. It doesn't work that way. Listen, I still believe in integrity. I'm not naive, but I still believe in integrity. The officials don't go into games saying, you know what? We have it in for you, Jaylen Brown. We're going to make life even more difficult for you. Sorry, man. It don't work that way. That's not how professional sports are. Again, I'm not naive, but nobody has it in for you, specifically, Jaylen Brown. Miss me with all this flopping and the officials, all that kind of stuff. Dude, stay away from your podcast. You just lost. Take your L like a man. Understand, go out there and be better. Become better at drawing fouls. That's what it is. Again, I will die on this hill. Drawing fouls is a skill. If you think
Yep.
SGA, Luka Doncic, Austin Reeves, James Harden, the list goes on and on. If you want to be as good at drawing fouls, you know what? This offseason, continue your underwater work, your boxing work, whatever it is you need to do to get in shape. Work on your left hand even more. You know what you should include in your off-season workouts? Learn how to draw fouls. It's a skill. It works. If you want to get to the free throw line more, work on that as well. It's a part of the game. Just overall, better yourself in that regard instead of lacking accountability and blaming the officials, talking about flopping, ruining the game. Miss me with all of that. I think it's lazy, it's tired, and you're just playing into what social media wants you to say to them. It's wrong, it's immature, and it's unprofessional. Miss me with all of that.
So
I love
this
it.
is a dangerous road for me to go down. With a guy who could just look at me the right way and beat me up. His name is Dwight Walton. Dwight Walton is a referee. Okay, so like I said, I'm going down a dangerous road here. But there is one thing that, of all of the tremendous things you just said, that I do not agree with. I want to say this the right way. I agree that referees do not go into a game like, well, other than Scott Foster and Chris Paul. Okay, let's put that in a totally separate category. Okay, other than that, I don't believe that refs go into games like, oh, I'm gonna give this guy a bad whistle tonight. Or I have it out for this guy. But there are two players that the refs, they got their eye on them, right? And then that creates a different whistle. Okay, so are the refs, when they're putting on their shoes, they're warming up before the game, yo, I'm gonna get this guy tonight? No. But when they get in the game, are they going to carry all of the human nature getting screamed at by this young cat that used to play for Dallas and now plays for the Lakers, who's been screaming at you for 5 years? And you're going to tell me that that whistle is completely impartial and unbiased and none of that history matters? I do not agree with that because it's called human nature. Another thing, Rasheed Wallace. Okay, remember Sheed throwing hands at refs all the time and the Rasheed Wallace rule and all this kind of, and I love Sheed, but you could maybe argue that some of those refs did have it out for Sheed. Okay, and like, remember the time that he looked at a ref? He just looked at him and the ref threw him out of the game because the ref said, "You're intimidating me." Do you guys remember that?
Yeah, of course.
Yes.
Sheed looked at him. He didn't look at him like, oh, I want to kill you. He just looked at him. And he got thrown out of the game. So anyway, I just wanted to say that. Let's move on. And we have a fun debate right here. So Dr. X is going to go first, and then it's Dwight. And if Jason and Kai just want to go ahead and put you guys in the 2 box with the X right in the middle, you go ahead and do it now. The question is, Dr. X, you first. Is Philadelphia the most talented team still playing in the Eastern Conference?
No. And the reason why it's a no is because how you phrased it.
See?
Yeah, you said most talented team. Now, do they have the best player? Yes, they have Joel Embiid as number one. I would say after that, I'm gonna have to give the edge to Jalen Brunson just based off the fact that all he's accomplished and he's the most clutch player. So I trust him in the clutch, which gives us the edge. I don't think Joel Embiid is clutch. I think he makes some boneheaded decisions. He misses some big shots in the clutch. Is he good enough to make sure it doesn't go that close at the end? Yes, and that's the only thing you have to be worried about. It's close though with Maxey, but Maxey still is improving. And when they went head to head, he still plays the same way. I know people think he worked on his body, he does this, he still does the same thing. He goes up over the screen, he's gonna hit that three from the top of the key. He's gonna probably try to get you with the mid range or the layup, and that's all he's gonna do all game. And he's probably gonna be better at drawing fouls, go to the free throw line, but he's gonna have a hard time guarding our guards. And by committee, our shooting guards will handle him. He's going to get his numbers some games, but by committee, we're deeper. We have Deuce McBride coming off the bench. We have Jose Alvarado coming off the bench. We have Jordan Clarkson coming off the bench. Our bench is deeper. I haven't mentioned Mitchell Robinson yet or Landry Shamet. Then on top of that, our starting 5 as a unit, not only are we deep, all starters, there's no like holes in our starting 5, but the thing about our starting 5 is that we play together as a unit. And that unfortunately was just unlocked I would say throughout the season, but most definitely in this Hawks series, it was unlocked. But we play better defensively as a unit. We're very efficient offensively. We have one of the best defenses in the league, and then we shoot the 3 better, and I'm sure that's a fact. So whether Paul George gets hot one game, great. Whether the rookie decides that he can hit threes one game, great. VJ Edgecombe, okay. Let's see you hit it when the lights are brightest, because he was on and off of his 3. So I'm actually going to the game tonight with one of my childhood best friends, and I told him before the series even started, I said Mikal Bridges is going to have a good series. I feel it. And I know it's based off the fact that, it's a recency bias that he played well in game 6 when they're blowing out a team. So, but I just feel like he's gotten above that now. He has some wind beneath his wings. And truth be told, he played well. Maybe not offensively, but if you look at Nickeil Alexander-Walker, who I think is a better player than VJ Edgecombe, he shut him down. 2 games in a row at home, and they definitely should have won game 2. So I feel like defensively, he's going to shut down VJ Edgecombe. I don't think they have that type of player. Paul George, even though we know he's a good defender, he does some silly fouls. He almost lost the game for them in the last game because he made Jaylen Brown get an and one. Talk about foul baiting. Jaylen Brown had 2 and ones in the fourth quarter. So I don't know what he's complaining about, whether it was fourth or third. He had some really good plays where he was getting some mid-ranges, getting to the free throw line and getting some and ones. So all that said, yes, Joel Embiid, number 1. Then you have Brunson. And then after Brunson, it's about even. I would say Maxey's next.
No, it's
then
not.
You have Cat is next. So then you have Cat or Tyrese Maxey there. And then you have OG Anunoby. You have Josh Hart, who I would take any day over dude with the half hair. What's his name again? Keep on forgetting
Kelly
people's
Oubre.
names when I think about. Yeah, Kelly Oubre. I'll take Josh Hart's consistency and ability to drop a triple-double any game over Kelly Oubre. And Kelly Oubre is not a proven shooter. He hesitates just as much as Josh Hart and is less accurate. So then I would take Mikal Bridges over Kelly Oubre. And so I would take OG Anunoby as a better two-way player, also leads the league in the baseline threes over Paul George. And so all that said, I haven't even mentioned the injury stuff, but I just feel like the experience, offensive efficiency, clutch gene, and Jalen Brunson, the fact that we played together as a unit, defensively and offensively, I give us as the most talented team in the East. Yes, Joel Embiid is a generational talent, but our team is a better team.
As per usual, Rick AM, my cousin totally missed the question. and he tried to cover it up at the end by saying the most talented team. He gave you the
I said in
reason
the
as to
beginning.
why. No, you didn't. You
Yes, I
basically,
did.
you're talking about okay. What you said, what you described, the Knicks might be the better team, but they're not more talented than the Sixers. No way. It's not even close in terms
A
of
team
talent.
means what? 3
You
people
see, no.
or 2
No.
people? What does team
Look at the
mean?
word before. Look at the word before before team.
Rick, can
Talented.
you qualify your question? Because
Talented.
Dwight, they are the more talented team. You
No.
have who's a better shooting big, Joel Embiid or Karl Anthony Towns? I didn't say better
Towns.
Let
player.
me.
Who's a
So
Towns? Okay, so we have
anyway.
a better shooting team. That's talent. Talent is
No.
shooting. Who
Anyway.
Is defensive talent? Is defensive talent?
Of
Tyrese
Is
course.
defensive
Maxey.
talent?
Yeah.
Okay,
Tyrese Maxey.
so we're more
Tyrese
talented there
Maxey is
too.
more talented. Tyrese Maxey's more talented than Jalen Brunson. VJ Edgecombe is
Really,
more talented.
really.
More
You want to
talented than
stay on that
Josh
hill?
Hart.
You want to stay on that hill?
VJ
In what
Edgecombe.
universe?
VJ
What,
Edgecombe.
okay, what universe is Jalen Brunson less
Yo, with all due
talented
respect,
than
cuz,
Maxey?
I gave you your chance to speak. All right?
No, I
So,
know. But I just
okay.
I really want this as a viral clip because the Knicks get for clicks for Knicks for clips, right?
Ty-
So I would say why is VJ Edgecombe, not sorry, Maxey more talented than Jalen Brunson?
He
He has
scores the
better
ball
footwork than
just
Jalen
as well
Brunson?
as Jalen Brunson. He's a better defensive player than
Really?
Jalen Brunson. He gets his teammates more
Ooh.
involved than Jalen
Ooh.
Brunson. Brunson may
How
be
many
more.
assists?
Brunson may be more.
He's at like
Yo,
7.
Okay, the same as Jalen Brunson. Okay, so the only thing I'll give to VJ Edgecombe is the fact that he plays better defense than Jalen Brunson, and that's about it because they cancel
VJ
out the stuff
Edgecombe.
that.
VJ Edgecombe is more talented than Josh Hart. Paul George is more talented than OG Anunoby. Kelly Oubre and Mikal Bridges, you can take your pick. More talented, Joel Embiid or Karl Anthony Towns. Embiid is more talented. We're not talking about the better team. We're talking about talent. Talent off across the board, it's the Sixers, hands down, with all due respect. Now, if you're
What
talking
about their
about the
bench? What
team,
about the bench players? What about the
if
bench
you're
players?
talking about their team, if you're
Exactly.
talking about their team, it's different. The word is talented. Talented. Not
No,
the better
no. The
team.
key word is team. The key word is team and
Talented
East.
team.
No.
Those are team. Sorry, he made the question. Let him
Talented.
let Rick
The
clarify it,
Sixers are
not
the
you.
more. Okay. No problem.
You guys crack me up, man. You guys crack me up. Right before we went on the air, I told him this question, and it was like, comment. I go, save it for the air, man. Save it for the air. We literally were like 30 seconds to air. Anyway, but yes, most talented team in the East. A.M. Pfeffer, you have heard 2 passionate soliloquies. Oh wow, that was the word earlier. Soliloquies. Okay. Anyway, sorry, I had a moment right there. I had a flashback. Who is the most talented team left in the Eastern Conference playoffs?
I swear this is not an AM zag. I really, truly believed Cleveland is the most talented team left in the East. I really do. I mean, I'm not saying they're the best team. I'm not saying they're going to even win the series, though. I think that they will, and we'll talk about that too. But
Different
Harden, who is Harden, who is a top 10 combo guard of all time. Donovan Mitchell, who's absolutely in my top 6 for MVP. Now, Karl Anthony Towns and Joel Embiid as bigs are better as one person compared to Evan Mobley or compared to Jared Allen. But if you take both those, no other team can talk about having 2 bigs left the same way that Jared Allen and Mobley are there compared to the other 3 teams that are left, okay? And ultimately, when you go to the bench, because now we're in that second series, you got 8 guys. That's who you're really going with your rotation, all right? Schroeder is extremely talented. As we've argued about on this same show before, over Franz when you come to like who's the man on Germany. Like they talk about Dennis Schroeder. He's been an absolute difference maker since he came over to Cleveland. Can't even believe he still was part of the trade. Harden was one thing, but how they got Schroeder, Keon Ellis has been a non-factor, but Schroeder's been amazing. Now, there's really two guys left that we're talking about, right? The Winter Soldier, who's done a great job, and he's got plenty of talent himself, and he comes from that Heat culture, and he's brought what he brings to the table. Yeah, and great hair. But really, Sam Merrill, the talent's there. Why? 13-point average against Detroit, 50% from the arc. You ain't untalented and shooting a 50-burger from beyond the three-point line without all of it. So, again, it's close across the board. Philadelphia is very talented. Our New York Knicks are extremely talented. But pound for pound, Cleveland's the most talented team left in the Eastern Conference playoffs.
Wow. One of the most important things AM said right there was we're talking talent right now. This does not necessarily mean you'll win the series or, just talent, okay? Because all four of these teams are yeah, right? I mean, we could have different answers on that different question, but we're just talking talent right now. For me, Dr. X, cover your ears. For me, it's Philadelphia. And for me, it's about your core four. Do you have a crew? Embiid, Maxey, George, and Edgecombe. I believe that that's a better core four. Trust me, not by much. Splitting hairs here. Brunson, Cat, Anunoby, and Hart. Embiid, Maxey, George, and Edgecombe. I mean, it's like 52-48. I'm giving the nod to Philly here. And then you got Detroit. Their core four is Cade, Tobias Harris, who was really good in the Orlando series, by the way. Got to give him credit. Jalen Duren, and Ausar Thompson. I mean, it's not like the most scoring core four of all time, but you have, Duren's an all-star, Ausar a defensive player of the year finalist. I mean, that's pretty damn good four dudes right there. And then Cleveland obviously has a really impressive core four on paper. Donovan Mitchell, James Harden, Evan Mobley, and Jared Allen. This debate for me is New York and Philly, and the other two teams are, they're a tier below. But as I said, I think Philly's just a little bit more talented than the New York Knicks. Now, we get into prediction time. And Dwight Walton, as you have brought out, this conversation's different, much different. The most talented team doesn't always win, okay? So who you got? We're getting into predictions right now, guys, and all of our great audience members. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Beyond the Surface on the X-Rated Sports Network, and really appreciate you guys and girls hanging out with us here throughout the NBA playoffs and beyond. I've got Knicks in 7. Okay. I've got Knicks in 7. And this is why you do not bundle studs for Giannis Antetokounmpo. The Knicks have 3 perimeter defensive studs to throw at Maxey, Edgecombe, and George. All right. And then Doc mentioned the guys off the bench. I'm talking about Hart, OG, and Bridges. Okay. And say what you want about Mikal Bridges' ebbing and flowing offense. He's a terrific defensive player. All right. And we know Hart is a great defender. We know OG's an elite defender. That is going to be an issue for the Philadelphia 76ers guards, I believe. Cat is going to stand up to Embiid and at least create a push in this series. We know the history between these guys. Okay. Joel Embiid's had history with Andre Drummond, Russell Westbrook, probably most notably Karl Anthony Towns. They did get into a vicious fight at one point, 3-4 years ago, whatever it was. All right. I mean, that was a good one. That was like, these dudes actually hate each other right now. They are, I mean, like two brothers in the backyard just wailing on each other. And then 5 minutes later, they're having lemonade together. But these guys weren't having lemonade together 5 minutes later. By the way, quick story. Me and my brother in the backyard. He's 2 years younger than me, way bigger than me. I kicked his ass coming up, not physically, but and I didn't even verbally bully him. I'm just not wired that way. But when it came to athletic events, I had to win. I had to have the upper hand. I'm the older brother, right? So as he got older and his athleticism just started exploding, I was like, I saw the end was near, right? So we get into an episode in the backyard, and it was a disagreement, and he punched me. And I thought he broke my jaw. I mean, it was like,
Sheesh.
and then I'm on the ground and he got over me. He goes, "Is that enough?" I go, "Yep, that's enough." Guess what? We never fought again. Okay. That was it. It took one punch and it changed. All right. So anyway, I don't know. But
I love it.
Cat is not going to go out like a shrinking violet in this series.
Right.
And Doc is going to love my theory as to why. If Karl Anthony Towns was still on the Wolves, I think Embiid would probably still be able to punk Karl Anthony Towns. Karl Anthony Towns is different now. He is. Last year, he was third on my MVP list, okay? And it's not just the Thibodeau thing, it's the New York City thing. Cat knows, and he's a New Jersey guy. So Cat knows, bro, if I lay an egg, I'm going to get literally murdered by 8 million people. If Cat lays an egg in Minnesota, they're pissed for like half a day and they move on to water skiing, hunting, camping, all the stuff that Minnesotans do. And the Minnesota fan base and media is 100,000% softer than the New York media. Okay. Cat feels that. That has led to a more version of Karl Anthony Towns. So I wonder if Embiid's even going to try to punk him now. Okay. But Embiid's not going to be able to punk the NYC Cat. It ain't going to happen. Guys, a couple other things. VJ Edgecombe defended Jalen Brunson very well in the regular season. VJ's a stud. We all love him. But Brunson's experience and determination, what do I always say about Brunson? Find a way. He finds a way, right?
Mm-hmm.
So many guys, we lost. I couldn't make shots tonight. Foul trouble, blaming the refs. Find a way. Find a way. Win the game. Jalen Brunson's like the best in the league at doing that. He's like 5'6", and all he does is go out here, puts an entire metropolis on his back, okay, and hits all these. The love fest continues. There's also a lack of trust piece for me with Joel Embiid and Paul George. And I'm sorry. Actually, I'm not sorry. They have conditioned me as 50% players to kind of wait for the other shoe to drop. I don't want it to drop. God, please put Joel Embiid and Paul George in bubble wrap and keep these guys healthy. Okay? Amen. I don't like guys getting hurt. Nobody. I don't dislike Joel Embiid. I don't dislike Paul George at all. Okay? It's a little frustrating and disappointing that they're hurt half the time, but it is what it is, dude. So I want to see them both play, but I don't know if they will. Okay? And obviously, God forbid, something could happen on the Knicks side, but Joel Embiid and Paul George are sort of haunted and followed by INJ, by that little acronym, INJ, that we hate to see on our fantasy teams here. So that's another piece for me. Again, I hope they can make it through the series unscathed, but I have Knicks in 7. Let's go to Dr. X next.
Agree with everything you said. Knicks in 6 for me. I just feel like at this point, the Knicks have unlocked the buzzsaw of their offense and their defense, and they are approaching Oklahoma City Thunder, early Oklahoma City Thunder, just the mindset of this, like, you got to do this every game, and whether whoever's there, you play like this, and you have a chance to win every night. I think they have finally bought in. I think it was Karl Anthony Towns that didn't buy in right away, and Jalen Brunson, and maybe even Coach Brown, not like emphasizing like we're gonna play through Cat. Figure it out. Like, they had the whole season, that whole 8-game loss, the loss streak. That was when they should have been, implementing these things. Like, hey, if you're gonna lose, at least learn something from it. And so I'm glad right now. What I feel is their best strength will be what they do for in-game adjustments. Whichever team adjusts in-game to how the game is being played, how the game is being reffed, that's exactly who will win out in this series. And I feel like the Knicks have the better adjusters. They have the better team that can do in-game adjustments. I feel like Philly is kind of capped as how well they play offensively. They do certain things, but they don't really have the latitude to like really be great offensively. I don't think their shooting is that great, and I also feel like their defense is not that great. So all in all, that's why I had the Knicks in 6. I also feel like we have better depth. I also feel like last year, we also had the last time we played them, Mitchell Robinson was playing very well against Joel Embiid, and Joel Embiid purposely pulls him down. I don't know if he meant to hurt him or not, but he did. It was obvious he twisted his ankle. So based off of that, and maybe I think it led to a knee problem, but based off of that, I would say now you have Mitchell Robinson for the whole series, hopefully. And then you have Cat, where they didn't have Paul George, but now we have Karl Anthony Towns. So we personally have the people that it takes. And then you also don't forget that OG Anunoby has experience playing against Joel Embiid, where his team eliminated Joel Embiid when Kawhi Leonard hit that clutch shot that bounced in off the baseline three and sent him into the locker room crying. So I would say all in all, we also have the fans. We have home court advantage. That's a thing. Hopefully we win game one because that is very important. Game one gives you that mental edge that you need for the whole series. You say, hey, we beat these guys. We beat these guys. If you lose game one at home, it can have the opposite effect, I believe. And then, all they're trying to do is steal one game. And if you let them win game one, they're definitely going to try to steal game two. So ultimately, the Knicks can't. It's how they lose when they lose. I do believe they will lose in this series, but it's how you lose. So if they lose like with the whole Halliburton thing, you're up by 9, supposed to win. Those losses are very catastrophic, especially in game one, and that's what happened to us last year. So I'm just hoping that we could stick to the system, win or lose, and make in-game adjustments because ultimately the system is not always going to make sure it gives you a shot to win, but they have to make the in-game adjustments, whether that's defensively on Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey, but we have to make those adjustments and just have to have the type of offense where whether we, hit or miss, we're still taking the right shots. We're taking those good shots. No one's hesitating. And I'm specifically talking about Jose Alvarado and Josh Hart. You can't hesitate. You got to put them up if it's the right shot.
So Knicks, how many games, Doc?
Knicks in 6. Always Knicks in 6 for the rest of the year.
And okay, Knicks in 6, and I got Knicks in 7. And Dr. X, please check your text while Dwight Walton gives us his prediction here for Knicks and 6. Okay, for Knicks and 6. Pardon me?
Clear for takeoff. If I answer that text, it'll lock me out of the chat.
Oh, I understand. Okay, so Dwight Walton, go ahead here, my friend.
My prediction is very fluid. I have the Knicks winning it in 7 because game 7 is in Madison Square Garden. However, a lot of my prediction depends on the mentality of Joel Embiid on both ends of the floor. Because what I'm saying here, if Embiid decides to use his size and his skill to his advantage on the low block and decide to play primarily on the low block rather than trying to display his vast array of skill that he possesses, if he plays on the low block, that compromises the individual assignment of Karl Anthony Towns. It compromises the individual assignment of Mitchell Robinson, and it will force Mike Brown to make a decision defensively. Do I continue to allow Embiid to have one-on-one coverage on the low block, or do I make a decision and send a second body at Joel Embiid, which then compromises the very good half-court defense of the Knicks? The Sixers have decent enough shooters to make shots from distance, and what they definitely have on the perimeter, they can attack closeouts with 2 or 3 dribbles to make plays for themselves or for their teammates. And doesn't matter how good of a defensive team you are, once you put a team defensively in scramble mode, it ends up becoming a make or miss situation, and the Sixers are more than capable of making shots from the perimeter. That's why the matchups to me in this series don't really matter, because if you put the defense in a compromised position, they're good enough to make shots. Now, on the flip side, if Joel Embiid is going to be compromised in screen roll action the same way Karl Anthony Towns can be. Jalen Brunson is one of the best, if not the best, manipulator in screen roll action in the entire NBA, which will then unlock the Knicks offensively. It's going to be a chess match between Mike Brown and Nick Nurse. And it's basically going to come down to which team can make better decisions off the dribble on both sides. And again, the only reason I'm giving the Knicks the slight edge is because they have Game 7 at Madison Square Garden. It's a very equal series, but if Joel Embiid decides to play inside out and primarily inside, the Knicks have major decisions to make defensively because it unlocks the entire team. I understand that I'm on record as saying the Sixers are more talented. The Knicks may have more depth, but if foul trouble is an issue for the Knicks, primarily Towns and Robinson, I would favor the Sixers. But I'm not sure how that dynamic is going to play out. It's up to Embiid to make the commitment to playing how he played against the Celtics. If he does that, I like the Sixers' chances. But right now, I'm saying the Knicks in 7.
Knicks in 7. Do we have combo? Do we have Andrew Salop? Should we bring him in here? Is he ready to go? I'm getting that notification. And maybe not. There he is.
Hello, Andrew. How you doing, buddy?
I'm looking at myself right now.
There's our boy Combo.
Hi, Combo. How you doing,
I can't
buddy?
see anybody. I'm looking at myself. What's up? Oh,
I'm good.
Wait.
Hey, whether you hear us or not, you still
I can hear you.
Still can hear you. We can still hear you make an apology. If you can see you too.
All right, is this good?
Yeah, you're good, man. You're good.
All right, what's up, guys?
What's up, man? Welcome back. What's up?
All is
Welcome
well.
back, my
Sorry
bro.
for the tardiness. I've never been late to a show in my life. I can't believe this happened. I've
Wow.
been doing this 8 years, and I've never been late, and I feel really bad.
Oh, it's all
Well,
good.
we're
That's
happy to
one
have you,
apology.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate you guys.
Another one coming, Doc.
We'll see.
So Doc, he may need a reminder.
Yes, that's what I was going to say. He doesn't know.
He may need a reminder.
Maybe we got the video. That's a ridiculous take. That's a ridiculous take. What was that? What was that, Combo? What was that referring to? Who am I imitating there? That's a ridiculous take.
You said that Maxey and Brown cancel each other out.
And then I went on further to explain why. And you were like, oh, he's the best two-way player. He has, Derek White, all this stuff. And I said, who's guarded Maxey for 7 games? And that fourth, and looking at the series and how it turned out, you picked the Boston Celtics to go all the way to the finals.
You know what? Undeniably, you are right. I would also say that I don't believe Maxey's better than Brown. And also, I did not know Embiid would actually come back. You would know better than us that he was not. Well, did you?
No, I had a. Well, it was an appendectomy, so he should have been back. He was medically cleared. The question is, mentally, was he going to come back? And as you saw how he played the first game and his numbers, he could have came back probably 2 games before that as well. But
yeah,
good point.
Yeah, I said they cancel out each other, meaning that I'm not saying one was better than the other. I just felt that his point totals, his impact in the game would cancel out each other. And then I was just saying, based off of that, now you have Paul George versus a weakened Jayson Tatum. Then it was really just up to the others. And then they still lost at home in game 2 when they shouldn't have lost, based off of your. That's why I kept him the eyeballs.
This guy Embiid's ridiculous. First of all, he's like 70% of himself and could still be dominant at times. He's just so big and so skillful and so good. The athleticism isn't like it used to be, but he's like an absolute difference maker. And I don't think the Knicks have any answers for him. Do you guys?
I do.
Yeah.
So who's your pick?
Yeah, I do.
Who's your pick?
I'm gonna say Sixers in 7.
Okay, fair enough. Why? Just because of that, Joel
Well,
Embiid, no
okay,
answer.
if Embiid can't stay healthy, I would say that won't happen. But if Embiid could stay healthy, I don't think Cat can match up with him. And then I also think it'll put pressure on Mitch and Cat. Mitch, I don't think will be able to play because they'll just go hack a Mitch. And I think the Sixers will win in 7. And then, did you see how explosive, to your point, Maxey was in a game 7 at the end of the game?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know. Like, Brunson looks worn down at times. Maxey looks like himself or even better at the end of game 7. So PG is also playing at an all-star level. And I think this team, player for player, is better. I think the Knicks have better depth, but I do think the Sixers have better top-end talent.
And can I just do a
So
quick
we
rebuttal,
see
Rick?
that there's
Of
your
course.
answer, Doug. There's your answer, Rick. He just said it.
Okay. So here's my rebuttal. They're going to try to hunt Jalen Brunson,
What
but
what
what
an
we
outfit!
learned.
Wait, time out.
Thank you,
What an
man.
outfit, by the way.
Let's
Shouts
go.
to
This.
TP. That's
Oh,
TP, right?
yes. That's
Yeah, shouts
Barker
to
Pages.
TP.
So just a heads up. This is just my alter ego in the playoffs, the insufferable Dr. X. Okay. So this is what. but
Okay.
but but this is what I see. They learned from last series. So they're gonna hunt Jalen Brunson, but what are they gonna do with that? They're gonna attack the actual switch. They're gonna double the guy that has the ball, and then they're gonna force that person to make a decision, which will likely be Kelly Oubre or some other person. But I just feel like it's gonna be a game of adjustments. Whoever can adjust better. I just feel like the Knicks are deeper. They have better offensive efficiency. They're a better shooting team. They have the better defense. And so all of that, yes, Joel Embiid is great, but I feel like, as you said, Jalen Brunson, I still think is the most clutch player in this series as well. And that's going to win out ultimately in close games. And I think our system will give us certain wins, which will be, will be more of a bigger gap. And I think that we had that in us versus the Sixers. I just don't think are consistent offensively. Their scheme seems to have some holes in it.
Okay, so if the Knicks do get to the finals and you're wearing that outfit, would you just say like versus the Thunder, Knicks in 4, just because you're
No, no,
alter
I
ego?
wouldn't. I wouldn't. I
Okay,
wouldn't. I wouldn't.
okay.
I wouldn't. I actually would favor the Knicks only against the Spurs. I do feel
Oh,
like we would have a puncher's chance against OKC, the same way no one thought the Pacers could go to Game 7, and who knows who would have won that game if Halliburton doesn't get injured. But no, I think the Thunder are the favorite to win it all. But if it is the Spurs, I do think we have a chance. Actually, I have us beating them in 6 if it's the Spurs.
I just feel like if Wemby is not on minutes restriction like he was during the season, especially in the Cup final, I think it could be tough for the Knicks with him being there. What do you think
I
about
think
that?
so too. I think
Yeah.
so too. But as we saw in Madison Square Garden, I don't think he was on minutes restriction in that game, right, Dwight? Where we blew him out by
No,
20
he wasn't.
points.
He wasn't. No,
Yeah,
he wasn't.
so you probably don't
Okay.
remember that game, but that was after the Cup game in I think January or actually February, and that was in the midst of their streak. We actually broke their streak, and looks like Wemby was mad and bewildered on how he could lose the game, and he had no answers for us. We blew them out. It was 20-point lead. They actually barely beat us at home, and I mean at their home, and that was because Julian Champagny had to hit 9 threes. So he had to hit a record in order for them to even have a chance. But I just think our system in general has finally been unlocked. The buzzsaw characteristic of the Knicks has been unlocked. It's just we're gonna see whether or not we're consistent. So I think we're like early OKC right now.
Hey, we went. I think we went like lightweight basketball viral with our Knicks in 6. It wasn't because we said Knicks in 6. It's because I said
It was because of what you
Jalen. But you know what? You got to give them a little
Jalen
bit of
Johnson was the
sauce
best
so they could
player.
get
You
the.
said Jalen
You
Johnson was
got
the
to give.
best player.
Yeah, you got to give them a little bit of sauce so they could get the prediction. Now everybody saw we had the right prediction because we added the sauce to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I'll let you
No, man,
guys
I
have the
do.
floor. But
Okay,
go
go
ahead.
ahead. Go ahead. Go
No,
ahead,
no, no.
guys.
Go ahead. Go ahead. No, your last
No,
point. I'm
I
sorry.
just, Jaylen Johnson, first of all, I still think he's a future superstar, and the finished version of him will be that type of all around player. But he didn't have a great series, but I do still think he's
No.
great. And on everything I said about that.
Okay.
All right. So what I want to do here is let's because we're at the prediction part of our show combo. So let's just
Okay.
go around and because we have a guest, let's try to keep our takes maybe a little shorter. Just kind of maybe a little bit more efficient here. But AM Pfeffer, you are the last guy here for the Knicks and Sixers, man. I've got Knicks in 7. Doc has Knicks in 6. Dwight has Knicks in 7. Combo has Philly in 7. AM Pfeffer, Knicks Sixers, how many games?
Knicks in 6. I really believe something has the light has flipped. The switch is flipped is really what I'm trying to say. As my tongue gets tied there, the reality is Mikal Bridges has emerged as a defensive superstar, as unexpectedly. Because, I mean, he was so bad in the last part of the season. I've given him a lot of flack, obviously, on this show and in our text chain, and I've been so disappointed in him, but he did what he needed to do. I think there's an unsung hero. We talked about OG a little bit, but not nearly enough. I mean, you could have easily made him the MVP of last series. He was that good in the last 3 games of that series, right? But more than anything, and I'm going to take a little bit of a victory lap here, because you could take me all the way back to the start of this show when I've been singing Mike Brown's praises as a man who makes adjustments. And that's exactly what he did. That's why Thibodeau is no longer the coach. But Brown came in when that series was tied 2-2 and was like, whoa, change this up. He instilled the offense and the defense correctly over those last 2 games. I mean, to see what they did, like, it was one thing what happened with the Magic and Pistons, but it was a whole nother. And let's not forget, because we didn't have a show in between the time the Knicks didn't just wax the Atlanta Hawks, historically thumped them down is really what happened. And we didn't get a chance to talk about that enough. But I like where the Knicks are. I like the fact that they're playing Philadelphia. I think they would have beaten Boston too. You know, to me, this was a big test that they had to get through Atlanta. And they passed it with flying colors in those last 3 games, especially Mike Brown, Dwight Walton. He is no longer on the hot seat, in my opinion, unless they get killed 4-0. But, like, he did what he needed to do. He was the head coach. I'm talking a little too long, a little too much. Sorry about that, Rick. Knicks in 6.
Hey, hold on. Go ahead.
Yeah, Combo.
Go ahead.
What do you guys think about Sam Amick's report? Sam Amick of The Athletic. I don't know if it's Amick or Amick. Shouts to Sam.
It's Amick.
Yeah, Amick. There you go. Sam Amick. Shouts to Sam Amick. And he said that even if the Knicks make the finals, Mike Brown is on the hot seat. How do you guys feel about that?
Oh, I totally. Well, so that's what I wanted to say, Andrew. To AM, if the Knicks lose this series, Mike Brown might get fired. Seriously,
it's fair. I don't think
it depends on who's available.
If you
Combo, that's where I'm going. I don't think his seat is hot anymore. He got past Atlanta. If you make the finals, no, I wouldn't say he's on the hot seat. Could he very well still get fired? Yeah, I just don't feel like he's on the hot seat.
And once Tom Thibodeau was fired last July, the floor for Mike Brown was 50 wins. He got 53. The floor was the Eastern Conference Finals. They're not there yet. They're going up against it. If they don't get back to the Eastern Conference Finals, that entire Knicks roster is on the table, and Mike Brown's job is in serious jeopardy. Serious jeopardy.
Fine, but it's like we started this show with the 5-alarm fire and the idea that Jamahl Mosley's getting fired and this and that. That's hot seat, in my opinion. And I just don't the hyperbole. I like to pump the brakes on that a little bit. I don't think Mike Brown is necessarily sitting on a hot seat anymore. Might very well still get fired. Might still be the floor you're talking about. They might feel that way in the executive suite over in Madison Square Garden. I just don't like this term hot seat. I don't think he's sitting on it right now.
All right.
Interesting. Dr. X, answer Combo's question there, man. What do you think?
Oh, that if he's on the hot seat, if they don't win the finals or lose the finals? What was the question?
Even Sam Amick said that even if they make the finals, he could still be on the hot seat.
Yeah, I agree. It's how you lose. That's very important. It's how you win. It's also how you lose. So, like, if they wet the bed and get swept and have no chance to beat OKC, then what's the point of bringing them back? If you got to level up. You get what I'm saying? But if they give OKC a challenge and they just lose because maybe they just need different personnel. But if you totally get out coached and get swept and it's never a challenge, you're blown out, then that says a lot about the coach. And even if it's not the coach's fault, you at least have to start there. But it's just how they lose. That's my opinion. But yeah, I agree with you too, Dwight, that the floor, he has to hit that floor as well. and that's getting. I don't even think it's Eastern Conference Finals, especially after how they played last series. I think the floor is now again the NBA Finals.
I completely agree with Dr. X. If Mike Brown loses in the Eastern Conference Finals, I can't guarantee that he'll be fired. I don't even know if I'll be saying he should be fired at that point, but I think it's very possible. If he makes the NBA Finals, takes the team farther than Tom Thibodeau took them, and like when was the last time the Knicks were in the finals? In the 90s or 99, right? Was the last time they were in the
Yes.
finals. No, well, like I would be, we always do the was it fair or unfair, right? If Mike Brown loses in the East Finals, I don't know what my answer is. It might be, yeah, that was fair if they fire him. If they make it to the finals, and I like what Doc said, how you win or lose matters. But as we sit here right now, to me, he's safe if he gets this team to the NBA Finals. But that's just my opinion. All right, let's go to the other series that starts tonight here. Combo. And we guys, Combo's Court, he is the host of that, former pro ball player, but you work out all the time. It's out, you always putting the little notes out on Instagram and stuff. So this guy can still hoop at a very high level. Combo, who wins the series, San Antonio and Minnesota? How many games? And I'm sure you saw the news that Ant-Man is expected to play tonight.
Yes, I did see that. I think that Minnesota is now playing with house money because of the rivalry they had with Denver and taking them out. But I would also say I think it's over for them. I think Wemby, if he stays healthy, I think they're going all the way to the finals. I don't think there's a way that they could stop him on offense. And then just his impact on the defensive side is definitely nothing they saw with the Denver Nuggets, right? It was like ole.
Right.
So this is going to be a totally different series. Styles make fights. And we all know that Minnesota was built to beat the Denver Nuggets. The same guy who built the Denver Nuggets built the Minnesota Timberwolves. They are not designed to beat the Spurs, and I think the Spurs will win in 6.
Okay, you got Spurs in 6. AM Pfeffer, who wins this series and how many games?
Love everything Combo just said, and I'll add to it again. I agree, Spurs in 6. And this to me is about the young guys. It's Harper, it's Castle, and these guys showed up in Portland, right? I mean, when you get to playoff time, you're like, how are my young studs going to look out there? Yo, they're ready to go. And that's a huge difference. When your guys can play and they're that young, especially a rookie, and they do it, you got all the confidence, all the feeling in the world. And, there's plenty of other firepower to go around on the Spurs. But Wemby defensively is going to anchor that in a whole different way that Jokic could not. Spurs get it done in 6, possibly 5, but I'll go with 6.
Spurs in 6. Dwight Walton, talk to me.
Same thing. Spurs in 6. Wembanyama is definitely the difference. However, even if I know Dante DiVincenzo was out for the season, but even if Ayo Dosunmu and Anthony Edwards didn't play in games 1 or 2, I think the Timberwolves have enough athletic depth to make it a competitive series. I'm not saying they're good enough to beat the Spurs, but they have enough toughness, they have enough grit, they have enough athleticism to compete on the perimeter. Rudy Gobert is also going to be motivated because he basically wasn't even spoken about in the Defensive Player of the Year conversation, and justifiably so, because Victor Wembanyama is the best defensive player I've ever seen. And I've been around basketball for 40 some odd 50 years. So that right there to me is the difference maker in this series is Victor Wembanyama. However, the Wolves are not going to go down without a fight. Athletically, I think they're on par with the Spurs. Can the Wolves make enough shots? Can Edwards' presence in game 1 be a motivating factor for the Wolves to see their leader on the court? That remains to be seen. But I think the Wolves definitely have enough talent to make this series competitive. But Wembanyama is too much of a difference maker. I think the Spurs in 6. Which Julius Randle are we going to get? That's also a question mark in this series. We'll see what happens. But the Spurs, to me, they're too good. And I'm with Combo as well. I think the Spurs win this series. They beat Oklahoma City in the Western Conference Finals, and they get to the finals. And eventually, I think they buck the trend, and in terms of experienced teams or lack thereof, and win the NBA championship.
Well, you guys know that I've been on Wemby for MVP and the Spurs to win the chip since like March. So I completely agree with that. The Spurs are winning this series. They're going to win the series in 6. That makes 4 of us saying Spurs in 6. The Wolves' victory over Denver was as much an indictment of the Nuggets as it was a great win by Minnesota. The Nugs are a mess right now. No Gordon, no Watson, Christian Brown. Guys, Christian Brown's 5 and 125 kicks in next season. Let that sink in. 5 and 125 for Christian Brown. You dumbasses. I mean, okay, I'm going to reel it in. I don't take anything back. I'm just going to lower my voice. That's all. You turn Michael Porter Jr. into Cam Johnson, who had one good game, which was game 6. He was really good. Too little, too late, buddy. He averaged 13.7 in the series. MPJ, obviously a part of a championship team there. Gobert got the better of Jokic. Give him credit for that. Guess what? Wemby is 100 times better than Rudy Gobert, okay? And the Spurs have multiple defenders to throw at Ant-Man. Castle, who, ask Cade Cunningham about Stephon Castle, okay? You have Devin Vassell, you have Carter Bryant. Some of the bench guys can defend a little bit. Jaden's going to have his hands full guarding a lot in this series. All those great guards San Antonio has. The Wolves, my Wolves, are nothing more than a speed bump on the Spurs' way to the first championship of the Wemby dynasty. That is what's going on down here. All right, Doc, when he comes back, we'll get his predictions. So let's move on. Combo, let's go to Detroit. And who the hell are they playing? Oh, yeah, that Cleveland team that these guys love. And I constantly am pouring water on the Cleveland Cavaliers. I'm not buying it for a second. All right. So, Combo, you might be. Who you got, Detroit or Cleveland?
Detroit in 5. Detroit in 5.
Oh, that's what I'm talking about. Are you getting a little bit shady with that too? Is there a little shade in that?
Man, it's like I didn't see enough from Cleveland against Toronto to make me think they could beat Detroit. On top of that, I think, we talk about the lack of experience with the Spurs, but at least they played a full season together, with their current iteration. These guys played I think 7 regular season games together. I'm not believing it. I also think Cade Cunningham is the most underrated superstar in NBA history. I never seen a player this good, this young, with this type of poise, I would say, right? He's not as talented as Luka Doncic, but I'm going to say right here that I think there's a world that Cade Cunningham could become better than Luka Doncic. That's how good I think he is, and I think the Detroit Pistons will win in 5.
I completely agree with everything you said right there. Luka Doncic is always going to be allergic to defense. He can't even spell the word. He doesn't even know how to spell defense in Slovenian, okay? So that's always going to be the case. And Cade is an elite defender. When you're a star like Cade and SGA, they never look at you for the all-defensive team, which is such garbage, right? Because Cade and SGA are definitely all-defensive team level guys. Okay, Combo has Detroit in 5. Combo, I got a quick question for you going back to Cleveland. Do the Cavaliers beat a healthy Raptors team? I know it's theoretical and hypothetical, but if Quickly's healthy and if Ingram stays healthy, who wins that series?
Raptors. I like Raptors. I actually really like their coach, and I like everything they've done this season. And Scotty Barnes, how do you say his name? Radovich is the coach's name?
Rajakovic.
Rajakovic.
He's great. I mean, they were the team who had the most passes in the league per game. I love that about them. And then Scotty Barnes is he's another underrated guy to me. I mean, Cade's high school teammate. Maybe I just like what's coming out of their high school team, but I love Scotty Barnes. And no, I think with Quickly's a guy, even since the Knicks, he could make a shot before the defense even gets set, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's one of those guys that could break the game open, and then he gives them some more game managing that they really needed. So definitely not. Ingram struggled a little bit throughout the course of the series, but I definitely think the Raptors would have won that if everybody stayed healthy.
All right, let's go back.
I got one more thing. I got one more thing for you guys. How do you guys feel about the way Harden plays in the playoffs? Because I feel like James Harden, super talented, former assist champion, former scoring champion, former MVP, but his pace and his sense of urgency is the same in Rico Hines' run, in preseason, in regular season, and in the playoffs. Like, he plays with the same sense of urgency in all those scenarios. Do you guys see that as well?
Rick loves this question.
Some will say he plays harder in Rico's runs than he does in the playoffs.
So tell me, so who could explain that to me? Is there anybody that could explain that to me?
I can, but I don't want to. I'm trying to.
No, that's it, Rick. No, now you have to explain it. There you go.
James Harden is the greatest choke job player in the history of the NBA.
But what's the psychology? What's the psychology behind him not looking like he's playing hard?
Because he's timid. They were saying it on the broadcast last night. I think whoever it was it Reggie Miller? I forget who was on the game last night.
Mike Tirico.
It was Tirico and Reggie. And Reggie called him passive. Harden took 3 shots in the first half. You know why? And I wasn't going to do this, but okay. The bear is out of hibernation. I mean, I'm tired of banging on the same dudes all the time. But all right, Combo, here goes. I called him on NBA radio for years. He's the GOAT of playoff shrinkage, okay? He hides from the ball. He does not want the shot. He's a choker. He is the player definition of a choke artist, okay? And I say to the guys all the time, I am out here wanting a different result. James, please be clutch. One time, please. I want you to change this narrative. But the narrative is what it is. The numbers are awful when you get to game 5, game 6, game 7. And how many times have we seen James Harden shrink to the size of an ant in a big game? We just saw it in game 7, guys. James Harden was awful in that game. Awful. He had 3 assists, 3 of 9 from the field. The only thing that cosmetically upgraded his line was free throws. Okay? So I've said what I need to say. Dr. X, you go next.
I got the Cavs in 7. That's out of respect for the Pistons, because I feel like, and also out of disrespect for the Cavs, because they got exposed just like 3 other teams got exposed this series in the first round. The Cavs got exposed by the Toronto Raptors. That shouldn't have gone 7. I get why, and I'm happy that the Raptors showed that they have talent on their squad. But you would think no Brandon Ingram, then you also have no Quickly, that they should have handled them in less than 7 games.
For sure.
We all had it. Dwight, I don't think you had it going 7 games, did you?
I had Toronto
winning games.
I had Toronto winning the series.
I had Cleveland winning the series.
Okay, you did, yeah. In 7 games or 6?
I think it was 6. And the thing.
Okay, that's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
No, before you continue, cuz I wanted to say to Andrew, the reason why Scotty Barnes is underrated is because he plays in this country, because he plays in Canada. He doesn't get the national risk. He doesn't get the North American respect because Toronto's games aren't on ESPN or NBC or Prime enough for the rest of North America to see him. Yes, if you're on NBA League Pass, you see him, of course, and you know who Scotty Barnes is. But in terms of his national exposure or attention, he's underappreciated because he plays in Toronto. The Duke could play. To me, he was the best player in that series up until Game 7. Best player in the series. So it's unfortunate, but I think this playoff run gave Barnes even more credibility, more exposure, more respect amongst the national audience in terms of his exposure.
So let me go back to Dr. X here. Continue, Doc. And then we got to play catch up with you. Give me a San Antonio, Minnesota prediction as well. But complete your thought, please.
Yeah. So ultimately, 3 teams were exposed this round, 2 of which I predicted. which was the Orlando Magic. As you said, Rick, if Franz Wagner plays one of those 3 games, the Orlando Magic is in the second round because they both can't shoot and they just needed one more score and that's all they needed. But the other team that got exposed was the Celtics, which mostly the whole world didn't say. And then the other one is the
Correct.
Cavs. So that being said, I still think the Cavs, you can't just learn how to shoot overnight. The Cavs have enough shooters and enough scorers to get the job done. And defensively, I think they're good enough to expose Jalen Duren for the second time. I'm not sure if it's going to happen because I just feel like the Orlando Magic play with a different edge and they have the bigs, a plethora of bigs. And Mo Wagner was even playing that series for 1 game. So, but I do believe that Jalen Duren, hopefully for his family's sake, will have a better series so he can get the bag. So I'm actually rooting for Jalen Duren to do really well, but for the Pistons to be exposed for the frauds that they are this whole year. But and that's because they don't have a secondary scorer. And although you have to give Tobias Harris a pass. I mean, he's getting up there and he's still, serviceable, and it also came through in that last game.
Serviceable?
So
Jeez.
yeah, I mean, he hasn't had the best series except for Game 7 was great. I'll give him that. And we also knew he was capable of doing that because earlier in his career, that's what he would do. So I'm giving him credit. It's because the GM didn't give him an actual second best player that can really score. Jalen Duren, to his defense, is probably the 3rd or 4th option. And he'd be a great 3rd or 4th option for a lot of teams, including the Pistons. But anyway, yes, because of that, that's why I have the Cavs in 7, because I feel like the defense of the Pistons is going to win a couple games, and just the lack of heart in the Cavs, backcourt, specifically James Harden, playing very nonchalant.
And then give me a San Antonio and Minnesota prediction, Doc.
I first wanted to go if I'm a true Knicks fan or one of those Knicks fans that don't keep it real, then I would say, yeah, I want San Antonio to win because I feel like, well, we could beat Minnesota, but I don't think Minnesota has a shot at beating OKC. But it's all about matchups in the playoffs. So off the paper, I was like, San Antonio's going to win the series. But as I looked at it and I was discussing with my wife, I believe that the Timberwolves, your Wolves, Rick, are going to win in 7 games, especially Anthony Edwards playing. Because I feel like Rudy Gobert finally gets it. Like, I know we kind of wrote him off last year when he destroyed the Lakers, and people were just like, "Oh, Rudy Gobert, you had him looking like this and like that. He was looking like the second coming of Shaquille O'Neal, all that stuff." But then he does it again, Jokic, and everyone wants to give Jokic a pass with these fake built-in excuses like, "Oh, he's not 100%." What's the injury? What's the injury we're talking about here? Because we're very specific when it comes to other players. When they have a calf injury, they have a hamstring injury, they have a knee injury. No one has said what the injury to Jokic is. So in my book, if he's on the floor and playing those minutes and is very productive, just because he can't shoot a 3 as well as he used to, he's in a slump. It's not that he's not 100%. He's in a slump, and that's what I'm going to leave it at. But we have to give Rudy Gobert credit. And so that said, I believe that he'll mitigate some of the effectiveness of Wembanyama. I don't think he's going to, actually do his thing offensively, but he's also going to bring the smoke to that San Antonio team. They're not used to seeing someone on the other side causing that type of rim protection as well. So based off of that, it comes down to the others. And I know Castle plays hard, and I know all those guys play hard, but they're not proven. And I feel like you have to give credit to the Minnesota Timberwolves, who have made it to the Western Conference Finals year after year, have took it down some giants. And I think the next giant they will take down is Victor Wembanyama. And a lot of people will then say, they don't have the experience. Everybody will lean on the whole experience thing, but it's because the Wolves play really good defense. And I also feel like Jaden McDaniels, to your point, and Pepper, has leveled up. I think he's their second best player. Then it's Julius Randle, because as a Knicks fan, I know that Julius Randle is also a choke artist when it comes to the playoffs. Even though he did play well against the Lakers last year, but I feel like he's a better 3rd option. And I like that Jaden McDaniels is accepting all that smoke and is bringing it to the best player. And I think he will ruffle a lot of feathers, and they will back it up. And Ayo, I didn't even get into Ayo Dosunmu, as well as who's the other guard? Dwight, you love Terrence Shannon Jr. as well has been unlocked. And who's the other player you mentioned that was unlocked?
Bones Highland.
No, I already knew about Bones Highland from like his Denver days and Clipper days.
Jalen Carter.
Yes. So I have to see him play. I really can't vouch for him at all. But But those two other, Terrence Shannon Jr., who started and played tremendous, and then you have AO coming back. I'm not sure if he's really back or just questionable. All of
Right.
that said, their others are better to me than the Spurs others. You really need a Julian Champagny to go off three-wise, and he's been missing in action for most of the series in the last one. So it's really just Castle, and you have Fox. But outside of that, you never know what you're going to get with the six-man a year. And forgot his name again. But all that said, I think
Keldon
the
Johnson.
Timberwolves, Keldon Johnson, the Wolves have been there before, have proven it, have taken out giants, and I also think they're a deeper squad. And I haven't even mentioned Naz Reid. So Naz Reid versus Luke Cornett. I don't think it's a discussion right here. Wolves in
All right.
7, Rick.
Wolves in 7. We have another Doc Lightning Bolt. I want you guys to know that we thought some of his predictions in advance of round 1 were crazy, and we were the ones that ended up with egg on our face. So if you're out there, what is Doc thinking? He just might be right. And frankly, as a Wolves fan, I certainly hope you are. Let's guys, I want to switch gears here a little bit. Let's focus on Combo here for a second, and then we can kind of wrap up with our predictions. Combo, we got one more series we got to get from you, man, and it is Lakers and OKC. How many games? Who wins that one?
OKC in 5, even though it would be great to see LeBron James pass OKC and then be the consensus GOAT after doing that, but it's not going to happen.
It's funny you say that because I put this out on NBA radio many years ago. Antonio Daniels used to accuse me for always moving the goalpost, and I had to correct him and say, no, I don't. When LeBron won his 4th ring, I said he's not the GOAT. But if he wins another ring, he will be the GOAT. So I put that out there. I don't move goalposts. Kareem has 6. Jordan has 6. LeBron has 4. How can LeBron be higher than those two guys? We
can't do this, Rick. We can't do this.
Of course I can.
No, you can't. You can't compare team accolades when we're talking about individual players. Or Robert Horry would be.
I do it all the
time.
Russell. I do it all the time.
Come on,
I do it all the time.
Rick. You know all titles. And to actually, and for Dr. X, who's saying that people are giving Jokic excuses, Jokic has the most defining NBA title in NBA history, and the whole internet has turned on him. The whole internet turned on him. They were taking a victory lap when Jokic lost, and I can't believe it. Nobody was giving this guy passes, Dr. X. The internet hates Nikola Jokic.
Who?
Agreed.
Who hates him?
The internet.
Who hates him?
The internet.
Oh, no. No. I'm just saying when people during the series, they would always chop it up to his shooting slump. They had to say, well, he's not 100%. I was okay with them saying that as long as they qualified it. They would never qualify it. So to me, just based on my mentality, don't have built-in excuses. Jokic is not saying it to his credit. So why are we saying it? Let him say it, and he will never say it. He knows what's up with that.
He's not going to say. I think it's virtuous of him not to say it, first of all. But I don't think anybody has given this guy a pass in any way. It's ridiculous what they're saying about him right now. He's the best player.
It was only Ed, Combo, and Phil. It was only one person bringing up the injury, Stephen A. Smith. Nobody else did.
Well, that's what I'm basing it off of. But the other thing is, I'm not discounting his greatness. I'm just saying don't give a built-in excuse. Like the same thing with Jaylen Brown saying, oh, he was flopping. Just take your L like a man. And I'm not saying Jokic did it because he didn't do that, because he's a great. He's an all-time great. All-time greats don't do that. But LeBron, to your point, Rick, you'll find this summer that he was struggling with some knee injury later on, and in the middle of the NBA Finals. That's the type of stuff he pulls.
So, Combo, here's the difference. Here's the difference between you and I, and Dwight Walton remembers this from NBA radio. I would say to Antonio Daniels a lot, well, we are here at the intersection of Ball Player Boulevard and Media Member Avenue. And there are just topics that ball players and media members are never, ever, ever going to see the same way on. This is one of them. I don't rank and calculate players overly contextualized. What did you put in black and white? What did you do? Not what you almost did, not what you could have done. What did you do? Okay. So is that the right? It's I don't know if it's right or wrong. It's how I do it. And I don't really know, because to me, when you don't do it that way, now it becomes super subjective, super opinion based. Maybe fanboy gets involved a little bit. I'm certainly not accusing you of that, combo. But when you just keep it to the black and white facts, it becomes easier to calculate LeBron, Kareem, and Jordan, and who's 1, 2, and 3. That I just want to let you know that's my methodology with that.
Calculate it. You can't calculate it no matter what you do, and that's
Yeah,
the reason
can.
why these debates.
I have a GOAT meter. I actually have a basis of calculation. It's called the GOAT meter. I actually do calculate it.
Well, I don't know about. I appreciate your GOAT meter, but I don't know about like Kareem has 6 championships and LeBron has 4, so Kareem is automatically above LeBron.
Well, it goes.
I don't know about that.
But combo. It goes way beyond that. It does. Okay, like for example, Kareem has 6 MVPs. LeBron has 4. So that's another huge separation.
Kobe has 5. We're all in agreement that LeBron's better than Kobe, right?
Not resume wise.
Rick.
Not resume wise. I go by resume.
LeBron James took Boobie Gibson and Ilgauskas to the finals.
Wait, I'm
wherever
confused.
they are, I don't know. Shouts to them. They're good basketball players. They play.
Are
in the
you
best
mad?
league in the world,
Hold on.
But they had no business being in the NBA Finals, Rick.
Hold on. Well, first of all, I don't give credit for finals lost, okay? But I will go down this road. With you. I'm confused right now. Are you saying you have LeBron higher on your all-time list than Kobe, or Kobe higher than LeBron?
LeBron is higher. LeBron is not even close.
Okay. Wait, you have Kobe.
Kobe is not even close to LeBron.
You have Kobe higher than LeBron.
No,
I have LeBron.
No.
Okay,
I have LeBron higher than Kobe.
Guess I got to clean out my ears
LeBron's
here.
higher than Kobe.
I have LeBron.
And he has LeBron higher than Kareem.
I have LeBron higher than Kobe too. So I don't like Kobe's 5 for me. I got Magic at 4. I got Kobe at 5. I got Duncan at 6. I got Steph at 7. Shaq at 8. Wilt at 9. Russell at 10. 1, 2, 3 go Kareem, and then Jordan, and then Kareem, and then Bron.
Wait, where's Bird?
No Bird.
Bird got kicked out for Steph Curry.
I don't think I've ever logged in. I don't think I've ever logged out of a podcast in my life. Rick, are you serious?
Hey, Bird's 11 on my list. He's not my top 10 anymore. I'm not the only one who did that, by the way. I am not the only one who did that. Who do you kick out? Who do you kick out?
All of them.
Do you kick out?
All of them.
Stop it. Larry Bird's counting numbers aren't spectacular. They're very good.
He was like 30, 10, and 10 for 3 seasons.
I'm talking about counting numbers, like for your entire career, not the best years of your career.
He averaged like 30, 10, and 10. He has the
I
greatest
don't
touchdown.
care.
He's one of the greatest passers ever. He has 3 NBA finals in a very tough era.
See, this is
and he didn't have the supporting cast that Magic Johnson had.
Oh, bull crap, dude. Are you serious right now? He had McHale and Parrish and Ainge and DJ and a bunch of great bench player. Come on, bro.
Wait. Better than Kareem and James Worthy?
I'm not saying better, but you're making it sound like it was just this landslide. Boston's team was incredibly talented.
What was their record before Larry Bird got there? Check it. Was terrible.
Dude, again, I don't care. None of that stuff matters, combo. What was their record before he got there? Who the hell cares? They probably sucked.
Because he carried a load unlike any other superstar. That matters. If you could do more, that's what makes Jason Kidd so great.
So
because he can uplift his teammates.
again, when we asked you about the top point guards of all time, you have Stockton like number 1 or something, right? Like Stockton's like way
I don't. You're mixing me up with somebody else.
No. I'm not trying to like even be funny here, but you had Stockton really high. Am I right about that?
No, I think Jason Kidd is better than Stockton. Nah,
Okay, I understand.
Stockton's fine.
Who would you rank higher on your all-time point guard list, Isaiah Thomas or John Stockton?
Isaiah Thomas, because he got 2 titles as the best player. I get what you're saying.
Okay. All right. So I will cease that. I mean, Stockton's in my top 10, but like, I mean, top 4. No.
Bird is not in your top 10. That's blasphemous.
It's not. It's not blasphemous at all. He has 3 rings. Shaq has 4. Steph has 4 rings. Bird has 3. Steph passed Bird as the greatest shooter of all time. Bird once was the greatest shooter of all time. He no longer is. How can you have a top 10 all time that does not have Steph Curry in it? The greatest shooter of all time with 4 rings. How can he not be in a top 10?
Larry Bird was a better passer. He was a better rebounder. He averaged 30 points, so he was a great scorer. Maybe he's not the shooter Steph Curry is, but he's one of the greatest shooters to ever live on all 3 levels. I mean, he's just a better player.
But he doesn't have a better resume. He doesn't have a better resume. I can maybe rock with Bird.
He didn't have the longevity that Steph had.
Well, and that's a big part of it. And people like to poo-poo longevity and counting numbers. They're huge for me. Okay? Would LeBron be in the GOAT conversation if you retired at 35? No, he would not. He's in the GOAT conversation because he's played forever. And the
okay.
GOATs.
So to ask a question, what do you guys say to those who say LeBron hasn't done enough in his career because he's played 23 years? There are people on the internet that say
what does that even mean? What does that mean?
I agree. I
can't compute what you're telling me right now. What does that mean?
The only reason why that makes sense in another world is efficiency, because with all that time, you've also failed at getting to the finish line, and you also had opportunities. It wasn't like you were on the second team. You got to the finals, and especially that's why we always bring up the Dallas series, because you were favored to win that series.
Yeah, and up 2-1. And up 2-1.
So it just speaks to efficiency. So we like to talk about offensive efficiency. Kevin Durant is the best offensive player, because of his efficiency and the 90, 40, 50, whatever. So it's the same thing. If someone plays for 30 years and they have 4 rings, and another player plays for 16 years or 14 years and has 6 rings and is 6-0 in the finals, then that person has better efficiency. So it just makes a good point about efficiency.
And Combo, you're going to like this. I want to bring something up that you guys are talking about, especially in the top 10. KD for me is number 7, okay? And one of the big reasons he is, and I always love to tout that he's the best. And you can laugh. You can laugh about that, and that's fine. But I tout the fact that he is the best Olympic USA basketball player of all time, right? So KD for me is 7. Steph has moved into 8. Bird is 9 for me. Okay, and the reason Bird will never be off
is Carmelo got to be top 10 now for bringing Olympics into it?
No, because it's still a body of work. KD was still the MVP during the season. He still brought OKC to the finals, and he was still the best player on 2 championship seasons in Golden State. So Steph gets the benefit of the doubt of that, by the way. But that's why KD to me is number 7. He's also 5 in scoring. There's a litany of reasons why I put him there. But my point is, Steph is number 8 for a lot of the reasons that Rick is talking about. Bird remains number 9. Now, the reason I bring up KD's history in that, Bird is number 9 and doesn't get off the top 10 for me because of what he did, not only in the NBA, but as an overall basketball history, right? And he brought Indiana State, who's never done anything else, to the finals. And it's the same thing for Russell. Russell remains to me number 10 and will never be off that. Like, he has 11 championships, 2 as a player coach, but he also has 2 NCAA final wins at San Francisco. San Francisco has never done, like, again, these are schools and teams you've never otherwise heard of ever again, but he brought them there in 55 and 56. So that's why he's on there for me and where he's at. But I like what you're saying about Bird specifically, but I will never forget because his body of work, unfortunately, was cut short by 4 years with the back injury. But I will never forget that he took freaking Terre Haute, Indiana State to the finals. Go on.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
How do you feel about Bird's titles versus KD's titles?
Like what? Like, are you saying that Bird is better than KD? Is that your point in what you're making there?
Bird is definitely better than KD. But what I'm asking you is what do you feel about Bird's three? What do you feel about Bird's 3 titles versus KD's 2? Which 3 is more than 2, but just the way they were won.
I don't know about the idea of the way they were won. I just know that KD in back-to-back titles, the way he won those was the best player when he inserted himself onto an already amazing Golden State team and won back-to-back NBA final MVPs. So to me, that was incredible. Yeah, against the GOAT, against LeBron. So like, it's got nothing to do with Bird. And by the way, a name we also didn't mention who was there in '86 was Bill Walton. As far as his supporting cast and all of that. But those were 2 different eras that happened in the 80s when we're talking about the Lakers and we're talking about the Celtics and they going against each other for 9 years. That's not, like, I don't fight with that. I just look at KD, his scoring prowess, who he is as a basketball player, his handle, his defense at his apex, and some of his own accolades. But I'm saying my point is in his history, and I count the Olympics because, again, over 4 different times in the Olympics, he was the best player on the Olympic team who everybody defaulted to from 2012 on. That is not missed by me. Just like Bird brought Indiana State to the final. So like the idea of like in the whole point of the argument or why people are like, oh, Russell, like, and I know Doc doesn't have Russell on his top 10. He'll never be off my top 10. And I consider what he did at San Francisco as part of the reason.
I just like players that make everybody around them better, and I think KD has proven that he can't put a team on his back like Bird can.
Oh, I disagree. I disagree wholeheartedly. Not only his history, yeah.
Not only from a scoring standpoint, but a passing standpoint. So he could score like those guys, but he's arguably just as good a passer as LeBron or Magic on top of that.
You don't win MVP of the league. You don't win MVP of the league and do what he did. Bring 2 different teams to the finals the way that he did. I don't want to discredit KD. If you want to think that Bird's the better player, that's fine. But please don't discredit KD in that respect.
I never discredited KD until I started talking about like later in his career, he can't carry a team. I think those championships are valid. I just think that all championships aren't created equal. And Larry Bird's 3 were a lot more valuable than KD's. Just like Dirk's was more valuable. Just like D Wade's first one was more valuable. Like,
yeah, but I don't have the same GOAT meter that Rick does, and I don't base this all on championships. To me, I mean, I think about the history of the as basketball player, the best basketball players of all time.
Right. Some championships just are more valuable than others. Like Dirk's championship is more valuable than KD's championships. Like D Wade's first one. No, even D Wade's first one is more valuable than his other ones because of what he had to do to get it. Like without LeBron and an aging Shaq, And I just feel like KD, those 3 championships were a lot more valuable than KD's championships to me.
Who's a better basketball player, Hakeem Olajuwon or Bill Russell?
Hakeem Olajuwon.
Okay. Is he in the top 10?
I think Bill Russell is better.
I mean, he'll tell you he couldn't score. Watch his documentary. Bill Russell says he was so depressed about how bad he couldn't score. So pretty much he was a Ben Wallace his whole career.
Bill Russell literally set the standard for how to play defense in the NBA. Stop.
Well, he did. And he also scored 14,000. Bill Russell scored 14,000 points. Okay, so like let's not over amplify the offense he brought. Right, they had some of the greatest scorers of all time on those teams. Look, Dwight, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I just think Nikola Jokic is more skilled than all of them. It doesn't mean he's better.
Yeah, and he's close to being in the top 10. He's getting there.
It's the evolution of the game, though, right? It's the evolution of the game. I don't even think you compare centers. If you say better and greater, I think that's 2 different things. Like if you just put Bill Russell in a time warp against Hakeem, I think he has no chance against Hakeem. But like,
I completely disagree with that.
You disagree with that?
Bill Russell would have no chance to defend Hakeem Olajuwon? Are you serious right now?
I mean,
Totally
if
disagree
you
with that.
throw if you throw him in the 90s, he won't be a better player than Hakeem. If you just time
I
warp
don't.
him.
No. I agree with the overall player thing, but to say that like Russell couldn't take a bite out of Hakeem on the defensive
Sure. Okay.
end,
Yes. Okay.
that's all I'm saying. What would Hakeem
That's fair.
dominate? What would Hakeem dominate Bill Russell when Hakeem's playing defense and Russell is on offense? Hell yes. Okay. Because Hakeem was an exceptional defensive player, but Russell would be able to take a bite out of Hakeem.
Yeah, better and greater I think is a little bit different because to me, like Jokic is better than all these players if you just time warp them. But it's the evolution of basketball. Every generation gets better, I think.
It's a good point.
that's fair.
I want to play
I
a little
agree.
game here. First of all, and really at the crux of the disagreement you and I are having, Combo, you said it. Some chips are more valuable than others. I completely disagree. I think every chip is the exact same, and I don't over contextualize and which one's more valuable. Did you get a bubble ring? I don't care. You got a ring, you got a ring. But I want to play a game here. This is the Bird versus Steph versus all these other guys game, okay? So I had to boot Bert out. Do you think I was happy to kick Larry Bird out of my top 10? No. And by the way, when I took this list to Mad Dog Sports Radio, which is very Northeast centric, I got killed on the air. How could you take Larry Bird out of your top 10? I mean, I got like Sal from New York City screaming at me, okay? And I was like, it was fine. Okay, it's my job. All right, it's my job. So I booted Bird out to keep Steph in, to keep Shaq in, to keep Wilt in, and to keep Russell in, okay? To me, you can't have a top 10 without Wilt and Russell. They're locked, they're in. The toggle guys here are Shaq and Steph and Bird. Okay, I want to go to Dr. X. Dr. X, 5 guys. Give me 4 that would be in the top 10. You got to remove one of these guys. Steph, Shaq, Wilt, Russell, Bird. Who are you kicking out?
Bill Russell. Top 5,
Okay.
you said? So
Well, no,
if-
not
so
top
if-
5 of all time. This is to complete the top 10. Because like I said, I had to kick Bird out
Bill
to
Russell.
bring Steph in.
Bill Russell. That was easy for me, but I also kicked out Wilt Chamberlain as well.
Understood.
So,
okay. So Doc would kick out Russell. Dwight, which of those 5 guys are you kicking out?
It hurt.
I know it's a tough decision. You guys are killing me about this. You think I like booting Bird? Hey, you gotta have some cojones to make decisions like this, and then face the masses on Mad Dog Radio. And I got those cojones. Enough about my cojones. Dwight, go ahead.
Steph Curry. Steph Curry can't be in my top 10.
Oh,
Wow.
See? Do you see? A.M. Pfeffer, of those 5 guys, I don't want to hear about your Kevin Durant USAB. I love you, bro. But these 5 guys, Steph, Shaq, Wilt, Russell, and Bird, who leaves?
Wilt, because he's not in my top 10 anyway. Russell had the better of him his entire career. Russell had the better of him. That's why he's still in my top 10. And
Wow.
Wilt should have 8 championships himself. Wilt's out of my top 10.
I agree with you, AM. That's why I took him off my list. I took both of them off my list because of that.
Wow. Okay.
And 2 teams at the
Going
pinnacle.
somewhere.
If you're hear me. If you're that dominant, Wilt Chamberlain, then why does Bill Russell dominate you for most?
Because he
most
had
of
a
your
better
career?
team. He had a better team.
Well, he's not that dominant then. Well,
No,
how do
Dwight.
you know? No, he
Wilt
didn't.
dominated Wilt mentally over and over and over again on a one-on-one basis. Over and
But he
over
didn't
and
want to
over.
win one game.
Do you see what you
There was
started,
one-
Combo? Do you
I'm not
see what
taking
you
that
started?
There was one game that he didn't even want to go back in the game.
Yeah.
He was
Who
done
said
with
that?
smoke.
Yeah.
Who said
Look
that?
it up. Google it. Has Wilt Chamberlain ever not wanted to go back in the game? And he has. It was in a documentary. It was a documentary.
Fellas, the Boston Celtics were clearly the better team, whatever Wilt put out there. It wasn't even close. Look at the Hall of Fame. Russell's entire team is in the Hall of Fame. What are we doing
Zach
here?
Sanders is in the Hall of Fame for the love of basketball. Zach Sanders.
Come on now. Wilt's teams.
I think this is
couldn't
Rick.
match up.
I think this is the basketball versus media thing you were talking about, kind of.
Oh, man.
Basketball players versus media.
A little bit. This is fascinating. So Combo, dude, we're taking up a bunch of your time and stuff like that. So we appreciate you making time though, man. I know it was late. We ain't tripping, bro. We're your buddies over here, man. It's all good, dude.
I've never been late to a pod in my life. I feel
Yeah,
terrible.
don't.
But Shaq, I would get out of there. I know that's your guy, Rick, but Shaq, you got to go.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
I'm not very happy with you, Andrew Salop. I think your podcast sucks. I actually think your podcast rocks. I'm just doing Shaq. I'm petty Shaq right now. I do a pretty good Shaq.
Even though Shaq's out of there, I got to give Shaq his credit because they always talked about his work ethic, but I don't see that because nobody does more commercials than Shaq.
Wait a second.
Great work ethic.
Wait a second.
That many commercials.
Well said.
But when he played, Shaq had average work ethic. That's why Kobe was so pissed at him all the time.
Yes, agreed.
Right? Shaq's work ethic was not where it needed to be as a player.
Well, you worked with him. How was his work ethic?
I'm not going to say another bad word about Shaquille.
There you go.
I'm not going to say another bad word. No, his work ethic, it's great. Shaq was a blast to work with, dude.
So here's my question. I have a question. Is Akeem Olajuwon in any of our top 10s?
No.
He's very close.
Not mine.
He'd be in my
He's
11
close.
to 15 range, but he's not in my top 10.
Oh,
Same.
Where does Jokic rank for you guys?
Definitely
At the
11
moment-
through 20, somewhere in there.
Yeah. He's
Guys,
there
we have to
because
do
he doesn't
11
win
through
enough.
20. It's a lot harder to do 11 through 20 than it is to
Agreed.
do top 10. Because the top 10 is something like, oh, this is my top 10 forever. It's cemented, and maybe you move one guy in, one guy out, whatever. But like, we all have our reasons why this is that. We should do 11 through 20. I brought this up
I
with
agree.
Doc
Okay.
before. That is
Let's
much
do it.
more interesting. That's the bigger argument.
So combo. Would you be? Listen, I love and respect Tim Duncan as a power forward, but my all-time power forward is Kevin McHale. I'm a McHale fan.
Okay.
What do you
I
think
don't
about that?
I don't know if you know about me, but my Tim Duncan tape's been going super viral, and Tim Duncan fans are very upset at me. I go in the gym. They're talking to me about Tim Duncan. I go in the street. They're talking to me about Tim Duncan. On the internet, I'm getting
Wait a
all
second.
kinds of DMs
Combo,
and emails.
he's not in your top 10? Dunk is not in your top 10?
No, Tim Duncan is the least influential superstar in NBA history. Nobody wants to play like Tim Duncan.
Thank you for coming on the
you're
show
talking
today. It was great to see you.
influential. Okay. You're getting all high and mighty with these words, man.
Woo!
Like influential.
I'm a wordsmith.
All
That's
right.
what I do, Rick.
All
Yeah.
right.
I mean, look, in the modern game,
Yes,
do we play in the
no one
post much
wants to be
anymore?
the big
No.
fundamental in the modern game. But there was a reason the big fundamental is in the top 10. Stop it.
Wait. Could Tim Duncan defend in the modern NBA?
Of course.
Yes.
Why not?
And Did you ever see Tim Duncan try to guard Kobe in space?
Do you think that in today's NBA that Tim Duncan might?
He left. You good?
Wow,
Come
No,
on,
he didn't
come back.
leave.
There it is.
Hold
All
on.
right, good.
Hold
But
on.
don't you think that in today's NBA, Tim Duncan would train differently and be coached differently, so he'd be able to better defend perimeter and in space and all this stuff that bigs have to do now?
Hold on now. Let's wait a minute. To Combo's point, Tim Duncan did lose weight to improve his defense or lack thereof in space.
And to take weight off his knee.
Yeah, and hold on, and Greg Popovich, who did he sub out on Ray Allen's legendary 3 against Miami?
Stupidly, it was Tim Duncan. Biggest mistake of Pop's life.
Because of what?
Stupidity,
on the switch.
overcoaching.
Because he couldn't guard in space.
Mm-hmm.
That's overcoaching, man. You got to have Duncan on the floor. And then the rebound comes right where Duncan would have been. You know what that is? That's the basketball gods going, Pop, sorry, bro, we love you, but we got to do it. Lightning bolt. That's what that was. You don't tempt the basketball gods by taking Duncan out of a possession like that. Give me a break. Uh-oh, what's up with Combo? You're muted and you're screaming at me. Combo, you're muted. Oh, what's happening? He was screaming at me, too. That was going to be good right there.
OKC in 4, sweep. I got to go soon. OKC in 4.
You got, Doc, you got okay. Yeah, we do. We actually do have to go.
I'm with you, Doc. I'm backing you up. I also have OKC in 4. And not only that, they're going to embarrass the Lakers 15 to 20 points a game. 4 games.
You really believe that?
I like that.
Yes. I believe it.
Yes.
I really believe it.
Yes,
Yeah,
you are.
Yes.
Combo, we can hear you. Yes.
If they would have built around Manu Ginobili, they would have won more championships.
You're out of your mind. You're out of your mind.
Hold on. Okay, so wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Manu
I gotta
Ginobili
get
is better than SGA, better than James Harden if you give him the keys.
I'll give you Harden, not
So,
SGA.
okay,
I'll give you
okay.
Harden, but not SGA.
So here, okay, I'm glad you brought that up, Combo. I went online on Twitter. I went on Twitter about 5 or 6 years ago, and I said, if you put the resume of Ginobili and the resume of Dwayne Wade side by side, who had the better career? Who had the better career?
I want to ask Rick. Actually,
Wade.
you know, I want to ask Rick that. I want to
It's
ask Rick
Wade,
that.
and it's not close.
No,
But he has more championships.
Wrong.
There's a lot more to the resume than championships because I need to explain the GOAT meter. The GOAT meter is not just championships. The GOAT meter is your combination of championships, finals MVPs, and MVPs. That's just the beginning. That's the separator. Then I go to rankings in your statistics. How many All-Stars? How many All-NBAs? Did you win Rookie of the Year? Did you win a DPOY? But the GOAT meter is finals MVPs, league MVPs, and rings. That's the GOAT meter. It's the most important stat in basketball.
I'm also including international play. Ginobili's career overall is better than Dwayne Wade's.
It's debatable. It's debatable. You guys are going to take an L in my.
I got to roll, but thank you. My wife is
Doc,
out. I got to help her out.
Doc, have fun at the game, man.
Thank you, Combo. Appreciate you, bro. I'll see you at the Garden if you're going to stop by. Come through, man. We'll be at the Garden. All right.
All right.
All right, Combo. Go ahead, Dwight.
No, I just wanted to say, like, the district now, again, is my fandom coming through a bit? Maybe. But to say that the Lakers aren't going to win at least one game, JJ Redick can coach his tail off, and LeBron.
I love JJ
Redick. LeBron's gonna figure something out. At least one game. One.
Nope. Sweep.
Combo, give us your prediction. Oh, you already said OKC in 5. You already said OKC in 5.
Yeah, I want to see the Lakers win, but I don't think it's not happening.
Dwight,
Rick, I never gave Raptors, by the way. You got to come back to me because I never gave my Cleveland Detroit. Never heard that.
Oh, we got to cut. No, trust me. I got it all written down here. Yeah. No, I haven't forgotten. Cabo, we're about to let you go, man. But actually, I'm gonna let you go right now. Dude, again, we really appreciate your time, dude. And you have stoked up several feisty conversations over this last hour. Combo, we love you. You're always welcome here. We ain't tripping about, the late arrival. Dude, come on, man. When do I show up to raves here in St. Pete? I don't show up on time. You show up fashionably late. It's all good, dude. It's all good.
Yeah, I always appreciate you, Rick. I used to watch you growing up. So it's always like a full circle. It's always a full circle moment talking basketball with you. And I appreciate you all.
Dude, we'll have you on again soon. All right.
Awesome. Anytime.
Hey,
anytime.
Combo, super quick. Tell the people how and where to watch your podcast. Which is awesome, by the way. I was just doing Shaq right there. We love you and we love your podcast. That was just jokes.
I appreciate you. Combos Court, wherever you listen. The show could be watched on the You're Welcome network. And the podcast is now part of the Believe network. So we're all over the place. Yep. Combos Court, wherever you listen to pods, You're Welcome network. You can watch it on YouTube.
You the man, Combo. Be well, and we'll be in touch, my man.
Talk soon. Appreciate you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right, we are back to prediction time here. Okay. Did Dwight give us an OKC LAL prediction? I'm not sure if he did. All right. So we're on OKC and LA right now. Let me give you my prediction on that because you guys are feisty with the sweep predictions. I have OKC in 5. I mean, doing it without Jalen Williams is kind of crazy, right? Last 2.5 games didn't matter against Phoenix. I do have a prediction. I believe the Lakers are going to fall in an 0-2 hole, and then they're going to be like, all right, now let's break the seal here on Luka. I don't think he's done for the year. I think they're playing the long game. But when you fall into an 0-2 hole, we've already told you have a 15% chance of winning, especially when the first 2 games are on the road, and you're facing just not a normal team. This is OKC, okay? So I believe that the arrogance and delusional mindset that the Lakers have, those lightning bolts that came down on them in round 1 futilely will hit the target here in round 3. When you lose the first 2 games of a series, you have a 7.3% chance of winning. 7.3. Guys, all time when you lose the first 2 games of a best of 7, the record is 34 against 463. This is why I don't even want to say it. But I got OKC in 5. All right. Do we have Dwight Walton back? We do not. All right. I need to get a prediction from him. But let's go back to Detroit and Cleveland. Talk to me. Sing me a song.
Well, we both know who I'm picking, but I want to ask you, how many games am I taking Cleveland in? Let's see how well you know me.
6.
That's right. I'm taking him in 6. I think that, look, we talked a lot about it, and it's hard to bring them back up like over an hour later, and some of the reasons we had said of what they were doing against the Raptors. I don't want to take away the Raptors. I don't want to take away what the Raptors did, because I thought they played wonderfully, and Scotty Barnes was fantastic, and it was so good to see him emerge as somebody going forward that the Raptors should be excited about when they get back to the playoffs, when they rearrange their team a little bit. But Cleveland, guys, I think people forget, they won those first 2 games emphatically, and they looked very good doing it. They did not look good the next 2 games, but the Raptors looked very good. I also don't want to take away from the fact that Cleveland, okay, guys, in Game 6 was down by 2 right at the end of regulation and tied that game and brought it into overtime. And it wasn't for RJ Barrett's beyond miracle 3-pointer, and you saw me send ChatGPT's math on that ball actually going in, it would have been over in 6. The better team won that series, and they got it done in 7. And don't forget, the Raptors were up early in Game 7, and then Cleveland turned it on because ultimately they were the better team, and they finally figured that out about themselves, okay? Same reason that, like, if we were having a different conversation, if the Magic could have done what they were supposed to do and actually beaten Detroit, we might be having a different conversation, and I might be picking the Magic over Cleveland, because I'm not saying that Cleveland is that good, and they're not my squad to take it all. I'm still going with the Knicks right now, but I do believe Cleveland takes down Detroit. I don't like Detroit. I don't like the way they looked against the Magic. I don't like who's left. All you really need to do is shut down Tobias Harris, okay? I'm not scared of Amen Thompson. Cade is amazing, obviously, but the goal is shut down Tobias Harris. Duncan Robinson is in the starting lineup right now, and that's a problem. Jalen Duren had put in 15 and 15 in Game 7. Other than that, he was abysmal. He wasn't bad. He was abysmal. He was exposed. He's not coming back and putting up 5, 6, 7 good games all of a sudden. This is a second, third team All-NBA guy who was abysmal in that first series. I'm not expecting him to do what's needed to do to win this game. Cleveland wins in 6.
Dwight Walton, Cleveland, Toronto, who you got? How many games?
You mean Cleveland, Detroit?
Yeah. Well, whatever.
No, here's the thing. I'm going to give Cleveland the respect they deserve in terms of their talent. My question is, are they tough enough to compete against Detroit?
It's always the question.
Over the course of a series. You talk about talent. Cleveland definitely has more talent than Detroit.
Undeniably.
My question is the toughness. The toughness over a 7-game series. The heart the cojones, all of that is going to be tested by the Pistons against the Cavs. However, my heart tells me that they're going to be forced. The toughness is going to be brought out of Cleveland. And when you bring out the toughness and then you add on the talent quotient, I think Cleveland will win this series. I'm going to say Cleveland in 6.
Dwight says Cleveland in 6.
Welcome to this side of the fence.
So I am going to be with Combo here. Combo picked Detroit in 5. I have Detroit in 7. I do think this is going to be a long, awesome, competitive series. So why I'm on the other side, Dwight, I'm buying your theory. You have diagnosed the problem. You have offered a solution. But will it come to fruition?
Right.
Will all of the dogs on Detroit bring the dog out in Cleveland? And again, like for the 1 millionth time, this is not a Donovan Mitchell conversation. He has dog for days. We all know this. We've known it for years, okay? It's Mobley, Allen, and Harden. That's who we're talking about right now. And, miss me with Max Strus is a dog. I don't think he's a dog. Jalen Tyson's more of a dog than Max Strus, but Jalen Tyson at best gets half dog credit from me right now. And I do like Jalen Tyson. He had a big shot in Game 7 last night, by the way. Anyway, I got Detroit in 7. To me, the only reason Cleveland is in this series are the injuries to Ingram and Quickly. Otherwise, we'd be talking about Toronto and Detroit right now.
Okay.
And I feel like, even in the loss, I get a prediction moral victory by saying Toronto would win that series. But the Cavaliers have, that's right, a prediction moral victory. Probably the first time those words have ever been strung together. But I've made the point a million times. The Cavaliers have a dog problem. Detroit leads the league in dogs. That's the series, okay? And Cade Cunningham figured it out. Remember, he was setting records for turnovers, and then in the last 3 games went 45, 32, 32, and said, shut the hell up. I got this, okay? Duran is free from the Angel Wendell drama, and now he's going to be unleashed on Jarrett Allen, who was a Tiger for 1 game. Actually, 1/4 of 1 game. Jarrett, I know you're a great guy. You're cute and cuddly. We all love you, but I need to see a lot more than a 3rd quarter against a Toronto team without 2 of their best players. Okay, and then we have here, I need a Dwight Walton Thunder Lakers prediction.
Thunder in 6. But my prediction is also fluid. If the Lakers turn the ball over at the rate they turn the ball over in the Houston series, it'll be a lot quicker than that. I think JJ Redick will scheme the Lakers to 2 wins. I think LeBron knows what's at stake. And I'm not going to sit here and bring up the 41-year-old 23rd season stuff. I'm not going to say that. I think LeBron, his experience, understands that he is the heavy, not him, his team is the heavy favorite in this series. What was the last line that I saw? The Thunder were minus 3,000 and the Lakers are plus 1,500. If that isn't lopsided, I don't pretend to be a gambler, but I'm smart enough to know that is an overwhelming favorite for the Thunder. I just think JJ Redick is a great coach. I think he will scheme the Lakers defensively. I think LeBron will win. LeBron and the Lakers will win 2 games. I'm giving JJ Redick and LeBron respect. All right? The Lakers role players aren't that bad, as we found out against the Rockets. Yes, it was the Rockets. Yes, the Thunder are a totally different animal. I get that. But this is the playoffs. LeBron has experience. Redick is a great coach. He will scheme 2 wins out of this series.
You know what also is completely out of balance? The fact that you have to go minus 3,000 to play OKC. But if you have the notion to wildly and I think recklessly put money on the Lakers to win this series. Why don't you get plus 3,000? Why wouldn't the payoff for picking the other team be the same as the pay-in? That's never made any sense to me. And hearing you say so what the book is saying is we're just going to screw you over and there's nothing you can do about it. To play OKC, the price is going to be so prohibitive that you can't even bet it. And then if you happen to get the LA prediction right, we're going to cut your profit in half of what it should be. Warren Buffett said something. He said sports betting is a taxation on stupidity. And like, I don't disagree with that. I do not disagree with that. Like, especially these parlays, man. All right. So we've got all the predictions in. 4 of us picked New York. Combo picked Philly. 4 of us picked San Antonio. Doc picked Minnesota. 3 of us picked Cleveland. Dwight, AM, and Doc. Me and Combo have Detroit. And then all 5 of us picked Oklahoma City.
You know what, Rick? But before
up?
you continue, although my cousin got those predictions right, don't you see there's a method to his madness? He eliminated all the teams that he thought were threats to the Knicks. Now, he may have been right, but there's a method to his madness. Don't let him fool you.
I think he's off the hook for that based on the predictions and then seeing stuff come to fruition. And he called out Detroit correctly with their flaws. And I was once with you on that, Dwight. I was once with you on that. I thought it was exactly what you said. And then I saw the first round play out and I'm like, nah, I think he's just, well, I don't know what I'm trying to say here. But I was with you on that, and I'm not with you on that anymore. All right,
because he's picking Minnesota over San Antonio. He's doing it again.
But Minnesota,
give him his credit. His reasoning was sound on Boston and Detroit. He exposed them for exactly who they were for the right reasons. We're giving Doc his credit for that. He didn't just willy-nilly say, "But hey, regardless of how we feel, we all feel about the Knicks and how he feels about the Knicks and his 2 biggest competitors." But he was right about both of those teams for the exact reasons they lost.
Dwight, when he said that stuff, I was like, oh, he's just trying to boot the teams that, and like anyway, I was with you and I'm no longer with you on that. But I'm with you overall in general, as you know. All right, I have a rant and it's super, 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 super quick, okay? I'm having some teeth problems right now. Called my dentist, this lady named Wendy, who's really full of herself. And I've known that just from going there, and she thinks she's hot shit. And it's so annoying, okay? And so, like, sorry to cuss. I just, sometimes you just got to say it that way. So I called today, right? And I'm like having some problems with my, but the bottom line is, hello, this is Wendy at whoever dentist office or whatever. Hi, Wendy. How are you today? Good. Drives me crazy. If I ask you how you're doing, even if you don't care, you should be programmed to ask me how I'm doing. It should be a reflex, an involuntary reflex. Not voluntary, involuntary. Dwight, ask me how I'm doing today.
Look at the logo.
How are you doing today?
Jason
How you doing today, Rick?
Dwight, I'm doing outstanding. How's your day? I hope it's going great. Okay, it's a knee-jerk reaction. Okay, and then the second rant is, it drives me crazy. Guys, the cardinal rule, if you take one thing from the Bible, treat others like you want to be treated. And you should take 1,789 things from the Bible, but if you take one thing, treat others like you want to be treated, guess what? There'd be no war. There'd be no violence. There'd be none. It'd be a bunch of peaceful humans walking on earth, okay? Anyway, the other rant is, it drives me crazy anytime a team loses a playoff series, their coach is put on the hot seat. Every single time. Joe Mazzulla's on a hot seat. No, he's not. They put David Adelman on a hot seat. No, he's not. They put Ime Udoka on a hot seat. No, he's not. right? But if you lose, somebody needs a pound of flesh out there, and they're going to call you out. It drives me bat bleep crazy. That's it. Those are my rants. Like, if a coach loses a playoff series, he doesn't necessarily have to be on the hot seat. He may or may not be. But it's every time. Did you guys see the stuff about Joe Mazzulla? There's actually people out there like, Joe Mazzulla, he did this, they shoot too many threes and blah, 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 blah. Man, shut up. Joe Mazzulla is a gangster in this game. He might win Coach of the Year. And you guys want to whack him because Jayson Tatum missed Game 7? Come on, society. Do better. All right, Dwight, you're going to bring us home. AM, hit us with a rant.
Rick, Dwight, do you guys know who Jesse and Emily Cole are?
No.
Do you know those names? You ever heard of them?
No.
10 years ago, they sold their house. They dipped into their savings. They went into massive debt to start something crazy like good Americans often do. And for years, they were getting killed and just going into worse debt. And what they were trying was not working at all. But 10 years later, 102,000 people showed up this last weekend to Texas A&M Stadium to watch the Savannah Bananas baseball game. 10 years of coming up with an idea inspired by Walt Disney, because that is the beauty of America. And they rolled up their sleeves and they didn't listen to anybody, and they kept going and kept going and kept going with one team on a collegiate circuit. And now there are more teams, and they brought fun to the family, which always wins. And they brought comedy and they brought goodness. And here they are in just 10 years. Over 100,000 people showed up to see a kitschy, fun, cute baseball game. That's cool. Savannah Bananas, Jesse and Emily Cole. Big salute to you both.
I'm sorry, but nobody else had anything better to do in College Station than go see an exhibition baseball game in May?
It's not an exhibition baseball game. It's an it's a global mass. At this point, it's brilliantly dialed in entertainment for the family, and that's cool. And they get it done in 2 hours, and they do 2-hour games. They got nothing to do with baseball, really. But it's America's pastime. I mean, like, you think about people not showing up to Tropicana Field. Right there, you go, perfect. Tropicana Field or wherever. I mean, you know who shows up to baseball games anymore? In the real league. But now, they put something like this together. Over 100,000 people showed up for that. That's amazing.
That's impressive,
Filling
man.
Stadiums.
It's impressive.
Yeah.
Dwight, we're dumping it down to the big fella. Bring us home, man.
As many of you guys know, I am a basketball player. I'm a basketball lifer, period. I've transitioned from being a professional basketball player. I retired back in 2004. I am now in the media. I've coached, and I'm a full-fledged referee right now, albeit an independent one. I'm not a part of any organization, but I consider myself to be a pretty good official. One of my major complaints over the years has been the attitude of players, coaches, and parents towards officials. I've refereed many, many basketball games over the last 20 to 25 years. And for the first time this weekend, a fight broke out at one of the games I was officiating. And I don't want to sit here and say that I'm not holding myself and my partner accountable, but I believe we refereed a pretty efficient basketball games. But the overall thought process of this rant is speaking out towards the attitudes and the behavior of parents, coaches, and when the players at the lower levels see the passion or the intensity that is brought forth by the parents and the coaches, it spills over to the players. And I am all for grassroots basketball. I'm very much for it. I'm an advocate for it. I believe starting players at the grassroots level eventually, and being coached correctly, eventually we'll see our players thrive at whatever levels they want to get to. But I do not like some of the attitude of the parents and the coaches when I referee some of these games, and when I'm simply an observer at some of these games. I believe they're the major reason why we see some of the kids act the way they do. I don't want to make a general statement. I'm speaking out towards some of the parents that I've encountered, and I wasn't happy with what I saw this weekend. It brought out the worst in all of us, and I didn't like it at all. There's a reason why a lot of people don't want to be referees. I'm talking about basketball specifically. There's a reason why a lot of people don't want to become officials because of the behavior that they see at some of these games. Now, if you're a good official, you're going to tune that out and just do your job. But the reality is, a lot of people don't have the mental strength, the toughness to not hear the criticism that's being thrown at them as they're officiating. That's not going to happen to me. I've played before 25,000 people. I have a ton of experience. I know how to handle criticism from everybody. So I'm not worried about myself. I'm just speaking in general. All I'm asking is that the behavior, be fans, be emotional, be passionate, but don't cross the line. Don't start screaming at the scorer's table because the score is wrong. Don't start screaming at your head coach because your son or daughter is not playing. Don't question the officials when you yourselves don't know the rules. All you're doing is following what you see on television and the behavior of the players. And it's our fault as well. They see the NBA players criticize the officials. They've been hearing Rasheed Wallace since the time he played talking about ball don't lie. Now we're hearing parents say ball don't lie. All that kind of stuff. All I'm saying is please have more decorum. Be passionate. Cheer, but encourage rather than discourage. That's my rant for today.
Amen, Dwight. Amen. With my boys on their way up, dealt with a lot of that. Never proliferated that myself, but you see, and where do kids get, their cues and their, behavioral habits from their parents. So you're right. Almost all the time, Dwight. You've probably never been more right than that right there. Happy to see that you are healthy. I hope, you talk about the hip replacements and the knee surgeries. You don't need to be getting involved in separating a big old melee, man. They ain't paying you. Dwight, they ain't paying you for that. I tell you right now, they're paying you to blow that whistle, man. All right, yes. We are out, ladies and gentlemen. Enjoy these games tonight. A couple of feisty games. We'll be back on Thursday at 2 p.m. Eastern time with the next edition of Beyond the Surface. So for Dwight Walton, for Dr. X, for A.M. Pepper, for our great guest, Andrew Salop of Combos Court, for Kai Josephson, for Jason Arambulo, I am Rick Kamla. We will see you Thursday at 2 p.m. Eastern with the next edition of Beyond the Surface on the X-Rated Sports Network. Bye-bye.